And before a full house at the Dome, here we go. A low bouncing kick. Fielded at the 1-yard line by Alan Pinkett. And it's a good run back to start things for the Oilers as he is thrust out of bounds at the 29-yard lines. Warren Moon, all things considered, real good numbers for the season with 3,688 yards, but as many interceptions as touchdowns, and coming off the worst game he has had in a long time last week at Pittsburgh. 5 INTs. Pinkett starts as the sole running back. Jeffries, Hill, Givens, and Duncan, the great wide receiving quartet. Maggs, Munchak, Matthews has been a rock in the middle. Dawson and Williams, the interior line. And they will have their hands full tonight. From the 30, 1st and 10. Moon sets up the screen for Pinkett. And Pinkett is taken down up at the 33-yard line by number 99, Jerome Brown. Now the guys up front for Philadelphia. That terrific foursome, White, Brown, Pitts, and Simmons. And we also see Golick in the middle from time to time. They begin with 2 linebackers, Joyner and Evans, and oftentimes Evans will come out when they have the 2 backers in. Jenkins, Allen, Booty, Waters, and Hopkins, the defensive backs. A look at Reggie White as the Oilers come to the line of scrimmage, the 33-yard line, 2nd and 7. 3 receivers to the left for Moon, who fumbles the snap. That's what happened last week against Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh recovered, and this week Philadelphia recovers. Same play. Moon fumbled the snap, and this time it is Byron Evans who takes over for the Eagles, and so Moon begins this week the way last week ended.
You know, Alan, the Eagles surprisingly challenged with their regular 4-3 defense. They didn't go with 5 defensive backs. There you see the scramble for it, and Byron Evans coming up with it. But I was kind of surprised, Dan. The Eagles came out with their regular defense. Said, you beat our regular guys, Philadelphia, Houston, and once you beat them, you're going to beat the best.
And you wonder how this happens with a veteran center in Matthews and a veteran quarterback in Moon.
That is Philadelphia's 40th takeaway of the season in this, their 13th game. McMahon throws on 1st down, and it's a wobbly pass and incomplete, intended for Calvin Williams. Let's take a look at this Eagle offense now with Jim McMahon. Several seasons in Chicago, helped lead into the Super Bowl after the '85 season, a brief stint in San Diego, and then on to Philly. James Joseph, rookie out of Auburn, along with Keith Byers, the versatile one. Barnett and Williams are the wideouts. Keith Jackson, a slow first half of the season, has really picked it up. Heller, McKnight, Alexander's been good in the middle. Salt, and Anton Davis, the #1 draft choice from Tennessee. A terrible beginning this year, but improving, looking better week after week. 2nd and 10 as McMahon is under pressure and gets sacked back at the 45. William Fuller and Doug Smith.
And this, boy, you mentioned Anton Smith, and here's William Fuller just putting an inside move that really was nothing special. I mean, watch how deliberate it is in going to the inside, and Davis appeared to be confused by the motion going on to his outside, became distracted, and allows William Fuller just a straight shot at Jim McMahon. And that is a bad beginning for Mr. Davis at right tackle.
And Jim McMahon, you might notice, is not all that mobile back there either. You've been watching Philadelphia this year. You know you have to protect him. You protect him, he can do a lot of damage. You get to him, and you can take him out of the game.
3rd and 21. His big problem is with his elbow, but his knee bothers him, and so does his ankle. Still, he goes deep on 3rd and 21, and incomplete, and is fortunate it wasn't intercepted. It was intended for Barnett, but he had no chance with 2 Oilers covering on the play, and it will be 4th down.
And the other defense in this game is heard from. So much is made about Philadelphia, and justifiably so, with their tremendous defensive team, but people here in Houston know how good this ball club is as well.
And Fuller just took Philadelphia out of field goal range with that play he made.
Jeff Eagles takes the low snap. The rush was on, but he gets it away. They almost blocked it, and it's fielded at the 13-yard line by Pat Coleman, who gets tackled immediately. And the Oilers' second possession begins after a 31-yard kick. Kenny Jackson was down there to make the tackle. So we've played 1 minute 51 seconds in the Astrodome in Houston. The Eagles and the Oilers, no score. This is only the 5th time that these two teams have faced each other. And Philadelphia has won the 4 previous meetings. The Oilers have never beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. So they'd like to do that, and if they can do that, they will wrap up their first division crown ever. 1st and 10. Houston from the 13-yard line. Warren Moon gives the ball to Alan Pinkett, and he picks up 3, gets to the 16-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 7. Joyner is there to make the stop. Consecutive years without winning a title. Well, New Orleans has never won one, and they've been in the league for 24 years. Houston has not won one since before the leagues merged in 70, and the Jets have not won one since the leagues merged. The last time New York finished first, they were in the American Football League. Second and 7 at the 16-yard line. No score early first quarter. Moon steps up, gets it away deep, and overthrows Tony Jones, who's a real speedster, and he showed it there, but Moon couldn't connect with him. He had beaten Waters and John Booty.
Right off the fingertips, Warren Moon just missing the 6 points, and if they can isolate Waters, he'll be the man they want to work on. He is not necessarily a good coverage man. There were 2 Eagle defenders in that defense. Number 42 is John Booty. He was on the outside, and on the inside was Andre Waters, but wide open, and Warren Moon just missed.
Yeah, but even though that was an incompletion, that serves notice on this Philadelphia secondary that you have got to make an adjustment, because Jones, the fastest of the Houston receivers, will run that pattern all night. He'll run that another 7 or 8 times.
3rd and 7 from the 16-yard line, and the play is dead before the snap.
This may be a delay of game.
Tom Dooley is the referee tonight.
Delay of the game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That'll make it 3rd and 12. Jack Pardee in his 2nd year as the head coach of the Oilers.
And Jack Pardee's run and shoot offense. Just a little refresher course. Warren Moon really directs it from the line of scrimmage. He comes up, looks over the defense. He has signals that he works to his 4 wideouts. They don't have a tight end. They usually make that signal at the line of scrimmage when he reads the defense. He'll try to read it quickly so they can make their adjustment. He'll look left and right. You'll see him look over the defense, and then you'll see him bark the signal right there, and now they know what they're going to do.
3rd and 12 from the 11-yard line. 4-man rush. Moon gets it away. The catch is made at the 28-yard line by Ernest Gibbons, and a first down. He's tackled by Izell Jenkins. Reggie White put the pressure on Moon, but he got it away for a 17-yard gain.
And put the pressure on Reggie White did. Warren Moon takes a shot, but again, this secondary of the Eagles giving a little too much ground. Look at all the room Gibbons has underneath. By the time there's a close by Jenkins, it's just too late. And there is the only man in the National Football League to average more than a sack a game during his NFL career, Reggie White.
1st and 10. The game's first down. The catch is made by Haywood Jeffries, who leads the league in catches, and he is pushed back by Eric Allen and Andre Waters from the 35-yard line. That is his 76th catch of the year, so he's on a pace to get 100. The league record is 106 by Art Monk.
And again, as Dan mentioned at the very top of the telecast, Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator, I'm sure is going to try to avoid anything deep. Let's make them catch it underneath. Let's make them pay for it. Let's make them be patient. Let's don't give them anything big, and you've seen it work to Gibbons, and then they come back with Jeffries underneath.
2nd and 4 from the Oilers' 35-yard line. Evans and Joyner show blitz, but back off, and Pinkett gets tackled by Seth Joyner. Minimal gain, if any. It'll be 3rd down.
Seth Joyner was sick before tonight's game. Several of the Eagles have had the flu this week, but Seth Joyner came down with it today. And Joyner vomiting before the game, running a temperature, and there was never a question whether or not he would play, and I think most football players who have played when they've had the flu or cold will tell you that many times you play a little better, Dan.
Well, I know one thing, that this game, if it was in Philadelphia and being played outside, would be more to Joyner's liking. It gets warm on the floor of the Astrodome, and it's not the ideal place to play if you're ill.
3rd and 3 from the 36. Moon had time, and the catch is not made by Ernest Givens. He protests, but the official right there, the head linesman, saying that it hit the ground. Coverage by Hopkins. 4th down.
A little blitz on the part of the Eagles, and the Oilers picked it up, but again that isolates the single coverage on the part of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopkins, a safety man, getting tied up on Ernest Givens. That's a bad matchup.
But it was also an excellent call by the head linesman. He was right there, and he saw that even though Givens came up with the ball, you could see it bounce off the carpet.
Greg Montgomery to kick. Rod Harris back to receive for Philadelphia. He was fumbling a lot early this season, but has remedied that of late. And from the 26, Harris brings it back to the 32-yard line. And that's where the Eagles will begin that drive after Al Smith makes the tackle. 9:50 left in the first quarter in Texas. No score. Re-emerged in their backfield. The Dolphins with a pretty soft schedule the rest of the way and in good shape for a wild card against the Bengals. Left for dead until yesterday. They were 1-11 going in against the Giants, and of course they beat New York. Next week, Bengals Dolphins on Monday night. Jim McMahon has begun the game 0 for his first 2, and on first down he gives the ball to James Joseph, the rookie from Auburn, who finds some room and picks up a first down. Bubba McDowell forces him out of bounds. Now, so much said about the Eagle defense, we forget about the Oilers. That's a real good foursome. Fuller and Childress, Smith and Jones. And then the linebackers, Lathan really coming on out of the University of Houston, second year. Al Smith, a quiet guy, having a great year, and Meads, the other backer. Dishman's been hurt, but he's starting tonight. Johnson on the other side. McDowell and Orlando, two pretty good safeties. 1st and 10. Philadelphia from the 45-yard line. McMahon falls down as he gives it to Joseph, and Joseph gets knocked back by Doug Smith and his pals.
Doug Smith, like a lot of the Oilers, playing hurt tonight, a very sore knee. And it's one of the problems that Jack Pardee will tell you he's had, getting enough guys to practice intensely over the course of the week. He has 6 or 7 players that are nicked. Not bad enough that they can't play, but they just can't practice. And it really affects the way you play. But that time, superb move by Doug Smith, sliding to the left, just a head-on tackle by the 300-pounder.
Randall Cunningham, injured on opening day, but his rehabilitation process proceeding nicely, according to Randall. And Rich Kotite and the medical staff, and expect him to be 100% by the beginning of next year. Joseph goes next to nowhere as he reaches the 45-yard line, and that's going to set up a 3rd and 10, and Al Smith, the middle linebacker, 54, is there for the tackle. He leads the team in tackles. Now, the league average from the line of scrimmage is 3.9 yards a carry. The Eagles a full yard below that, and that is the worst in the league. And only the 1986 New England Patriots in the past 25 years averaged less than 3 yards a rush. The irony is the Patriots made the playoffs that year, and the Eagles could very well do it this year.
At least Richie Kotite doesn't tell you they're going to establish the running game to get the passing game going.
Yeah. 3rd and 10 from the 45. And they dump it off to the venerable Roy Green, but he pays the price before he can get the first down. He is tackled by Chris Dishman, and then Marcus Robertson as well. The two of them converge to stop him about 1.5 yards shy of the first.
Yeah, Roy sat back in the backfield and acted like he was going to block, and then just kind of slyly released through the middle of the offensive line, and it looked like he was going to get the first down. I thought he was going to pick it up. He went a little more lateral than straight upfield and ended up being caught about 1 yard short.
Eagles to punt. Again, the rush is on, but he gets away a boomer. It bounces into the end zone and through, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line. 7:09 remaining in the Astrodome. First quarter, 0-0. Season, you can make a case for everybody along that front line winding up in Honolulu in the Pro Bowl.
Well, Jerome has been there with Reggie White. Really, Clyde Simmons is a guy that's really due to go. Their right defensive end. He leads the team, tied with Reggie with 11 sacks, and has never been to a Pro Bowl, and this year is, I think, his year.
First down, Oilers from the 20, no score. This is their third possession, and Moon has his pass knocked down by Jerome Brown on cue. Spotlight him, and he turns in a big play.
Well, as is often the case, a defensive lineman blocks a pass because he didn't get off the line of scrimmage. Jerome Brown was really well blocked on that play and jumps up. You can see he's 5 yards away from Warren Moon and times his leap perfectly.
Again, the Eagles staying with their pure 4-3. They can do that because Seth Joyner is such a good man on the pass coverage, and so is their rookie from Texas A&M, William Thomas. And now on second down, they seem to establish a trend. They bring in the fifth defensive back, and William Thomas comes out. Now they're in their nickel.
And Booty is that nickel back. 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. And the catch is not made. That's a one-hopper, and that's the second time that Givens has one-hopped one, but the head linesman was right there to say, no, sir.
And that's the kind of a play that you wonder how many of those a ball game Houston can afford to waste. Moon had excellent protection. Everybody up front did a good job. Pink at the back made a pickup, and he had a wide open man and short hopped the pass. That is I mean, look at the protection Warren Moon got. Pretty stout up front, and he one hops it in there. Those are the kind you just can't afford to give away against Philadelphia.
3rd and 10, Houston from the 20. No score, 7 minutes to play, first quarter. And the Eagles come across the line. Jerome Brown, unless he was enticed, is the guilty Eagle.
I sure didn't see anybody move.
Encroachment, 99 on the defense. 3rd down.
One of the things Warren Moon talked about that he had to do this week, all week in practice, they stressed on it, was Moon was going to change up his snap counts. As a quarterback, he's very cognizant of not getting caught on going on one hut, two huts, and you can see he really caught Philadelphia that time by going on the 3rd or the 4th hut. What a break that is for his offensive lineman to have an intelligent quarterback change up the snap count.
3rd and 5. The blitz, it's picked up, and the pass is caught by Givens, who nearly has his head taken off, and a flag comes in after the play up at the 45-yard line.
I think that was an elbow to the head. The flag was in there instantly. Who was that, Hopkins, that came up and unloaded?
You're allowed to hit a player. That's obvious. This is a contact sport. But
not with an elbow.
You can't take a forearm and hit somebody in the head with it. You cannot do it. And I think what we're going to see here is a blatant shot to the head. And that will bring the flag.
We have a personal foul, number 48 defense. After the catch, he hit him in the head. Unnecessary roughness.
Givens concentrating on the ball. He's totally vulnerable. Hopkins, instead of taking a pure shot, he just threw an elbow right to the head. Watch this.
Coming in from the right. There is the elbow right to the face mask. And you're right, that'll bring the flag, and deservedly so. And Ernest Givens, there's the best look we're going to see. Right there, you see the forearm to the face. Wes Hopkins has had multiple personal foul games before and starts off with one here in the first quarter.
And that's a bad one.
Ernest Givens was helped off the field. And Wes Hopkins is the man who received the personal foul penalty, costing his team 15, moving Houston into Philadelphia territory for the first time in the game at the 40. Pat Coleman, 87, takes Givens' place. Moon, nice protection, then throws over the middle, and the catch is made by Haywood Jeffries. But the head linesman says no, didn't have it.
And that was really, I think, a high-quality play by Seth Joyner, who strips the ball away. That's the kind of catch Jeffries is going to make. I think Joyner just did an exemplary job of stripping Jeffries' arms away so he didn't come away with a catch.
He is one of the best in the leagues at anything to do with pass defense. Look at that. He's all the way back about 15 yards, gets back into the play, strips it out of there. This guy can blitz. He's good against the run, and as you can see, good against the pass.
2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line. That's Coleman in motion. Moon chased by Joyner, then has it tipped out of bounds. Joyner chased him, and Mike Golick knocked it down, and a flag is down at the 34-yard line.
I think we're going to have one of the Houston offensive linemen downfield. This is going to be an ineligible receiver, I think. Yeah.
The Oilers have been the most penalized team in the league the past 4 seasons. You could understand it. Glanville.
We have an illegal receiver downfield on the pass. 10-yard penalty. We will repeat 2nd down.
3 of those seasons belonged to Glanville, but Pardee was here last year, and the same thing happened.
Exactly right. Jack Pardee. Some people win, some people lose, some people hang in the middle. This guy wins no matter where he is.
Great all-pro linebacker with the Rams, and then later, of course, with the Washington Redskins under George Allen at both places, and they continue to look at Ernest Givens, and don't know for sure whether that elbow got through the mask or not, but they are icing down his nose at the moment.
2nd and 20 at the 50-yard line. Joyner was ready to blitz. That provokes the flags, creates a free play, and Houston can't take advantage of it as Coleman drops it. But it'll be a 5-yard penalty. It'll be Joyner. Joyner had a first quarter last week.
Offsides, 59 defense. 2nd down.
That a linebacker would have to dream about. He hits Gelbaugh, the quarterback, creating an interception, picks up a fumble and runs it in for a touchdown, then creates a fumble in the end zone that Clyde Simmons covers for a touchdown, all in 15 minutes of play.
He also has 3 interceptions on the year. A moment ago, we saw him deep in the pass coverage, and we saw him chase Moon out of the pocket. And Moon is doing a good job. Not only is he changing the count, he's giving it the old John Elway hard count. And the Eagles are really pumped up for this game, and now we've had 2 offsides here in the early going.
2nd and 15, basic 4-man front and a 4-man rush. But Moon is protected, gets it away. Jeffries loses the ball. The interception by Seth Joyner. And Joyner brings it back out to the 48-yard line. If he had possession, it's a fumble recovery. If he didn't, it's an interception.
And this will go directly to the replay booth. You can count on it. Al's point is exactly right. The determining factor, did he have possession? Did both feet come in contact with the field while he was in possession of the football? Let's watch this thing closely.
Andre Waters applies the hit.
All right, take a look at it. There's Jeffries. Well, he's got the football. There's no doubt that this is a legitimate interception. Andre Waters with the good hit from behind, and that will stand.
It's officially ruled a reception and then a fumble, so it would be a fumble recovery and a run back as Byers carries for the first time and takes the ball across the 50 and into Houston territory at the 48-yard line. Darrell Smith, the backup lineman, holds him up before he collides with the bench.
And as the Eagles do so well, they create turnovers. Even with mistakes, Wes Hopkins' personal foul, Joyner's jumping off sides, still they're good enough to overcome these types of mistakes.
Waters with his helmet right on that ball.
Yep. They've been doing this all year long.
2nd and 6 at the 48, 5:55 to go. First quarter, no score. That's Maurice Johnson, the second tight end in motion, and McMahon airs it out, and open is Freddie Barnett, and Barnett is inside the 10. He beats Richard Johnson. It'll be 1st and goal from the 9, but did he have both feet in bounds? They'll take a look at it.
Well, Richard Johnson certainly is hoping not, because he gets smoked. Barnett goes by Johnson. I'm not sure what Johnson was looking at, and let's take a look. There is the catch. There is the left foot. The right foot is out of bounds. That's not going to be a catch.
They'll bring that back.
Yeah, they're going to bring that back. You can see he was moving backwards. The left foot was plainly in the field of play. but the right foot came down on the sidelines, and nobody has ever tried to run a play quicker than Eagles just did.
The officials have ruled catch out of bounds on the sideline, and is being reviewed by instant replay.
No, the officials ruled a catch. The officials ruled it inbounds.
Yep. He meant catch, comma, and then out of bounds.
Yeah.
And there's little or no question about this. Barnett just flew by.
Well, now, the question is, where was the right foot when he caught the ball? You know, Kenny, can we back that thing up?
Yep. His right foot might be down when he first makes contact with the ball.
I agree with you. There's a question as to whether his right foot was down before he had to make the left foot go down. Let's look at it here.
Did he catch it with the right foot
down? See, that's his left foot in the air.
Is his right foot down there? It's obscured by Johnson.
Oh, now again, we're dealing with having to see something conclusive to overturn what was called on the field.
The back judge, Bill Lovett, was right there in perfect position to view it.
Well, if anybody's got another look, we do. All right, let's look here. All right, there's where he has possession. The right foot is in the air. That looks like a pretty...
We have an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
They ruled it. I mean, that was the conclusive look.
Yes.
The first look was inconclusive, but they ruled it an incompletion off the inconclusive look.
And we are most honored to corroborate the evidence. It was not a catch.
And meanwhile, kind of lost in all that was the fact that Barnett just blew by Richard Johnson. And we're going to see some more of that.
And you saw Chris Dishman walking back with Johnson there, trying to pump him up a little bit. All right, again, what's at issue here is the right foot. There's the catch, and the right foot is plainly up in the air. The left foot will come down, and then the right foot hits out of bounds.
One of the rare times they're going to catch Houston in a man-for-man situation. They love the zone. And that time they were man-for-man, and Barnett just blew by Johnson.
3rd and 6 from the shotgun. McMahon fakes the give, throws to Byers, and Byers takes it to the 44-yard line, loses the football, but he was out of bounds, or was he?
They're going to rule he was down because the ball came out when Byers hit the ground.
Play is dead.
At least that's what they called it.
They're saying the ground caused the fumble because he kept the clock winding. And it is Philadelphia's ball. Ground caused the fumble. Play is dead where Byers was tackled at the 45-yard line. But not enough for a first down.
And that was exactly the right call.
But he is 2 yards shy of the first. The Eagles have to kick. Fiegels to put it in the air. Oilers let it go. It bounces at the 2 and just across the line. 44-yard boot. And again, the Oilers will take possession after the touchback at their 20-yard line. 4:31 remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Well, college football's regular season winds down, and as usual, we will have for you the great traditional from Philadelphia, the Army-Navy game, coming your way this Saturday at 1:30 Eastern and 10:30 Pacific. And then following that, the Chevrolet College Football Award Show at 5 Eastern time. Astrodome in Houston.
It has been a rather anemic start for Houston in their passing game. Underthrown passes, dropped balls by receivers, fumbles after being hit. Not what the faithful here in the Astrodome are used to seeing.
You'd swear they were playing outside.
Really?
From the 20-yard line. Moon throws. The catch is made by Jeffries. First down, an 11-yard pickup at the 31-yard line. And Jeffries tries to fire up the crowd.
And here come flags. 3 flags get thrown. And I think they're going to call Haywood Jeffries for a demonstration. Now let's see if that's the call.
We have delay of game, spiking the ball, number 84. It will be first down, 15 yards.
They'll give him the first down. They'll penalize him 5 yards.
See, it's a completed pass. The clock is still running. And they can, by rule, call you for delay of game. If you were out of bounds and did the same thing, off on the sidelines or something like that, they're not going to flag you for it. But I think it's been that kind of a frustrating beginning to this ball game for Jeffries and the Oiler receivers. And
right now
there was cause for a mini celebration to have a catch, Frank, and a completion that was good for a first down.
That's true. Right now I think they're trying to figure out where they should spot the ball. I don't think they've spotted on the right place. Well, should be up around the 31-yard line.
He catches it at the 31.
And the penalty.
Right. They're correct because that's the end of the play, and then it's a dead ball foul, 5-yard penalty back to the 26.
Right.
We're sure, but they're not. The report from the Houston bench, Ernest Givens, possible, or a broken nose, definitely possible return is what they're saying. Now they just want to reset the play clock to 25. That's what that sign is for.
Philadelphia going in and out of their regular 4-3. They change on almost every play, either back to the 4-3 or the nickel. And a couple of times they've had 6 defensive backs in. Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator, giving Houston a different look on almost every play.
Well, it's 4 DBs and 3 linebackers now. And Reggie.
Alan Pinkett. Stopped by Reggie White. Pinkett is the smaller of the 2 running backs. You would think, especially if Philadelphia is able to mount a lot of pressure against Moon, they would bring Lorenzo White, the bigger of the 2, who outweighs Pinkett by about 25 to 30 pounds, into the game.
And there's White now standing on the sidelines, and you're exactly right, Al. White, the best pass blocker of the 2. Pinkett, probably the more explosive runner.
And given Philadelphia's turnover ratio, Pinkett is a sure-handed ball carrier if you're going to run the football, so they like to have him in there for the run.
Moon on second down throws, and the catch is made by Drew Hill in his 12th year, stopped by Eric Allen out of the 32-yard line.
Eric Allen, the former Pro Bowler at the cornerback. Ben Smith, the other fine cornerback for the Eagles, went down with a knee injury a couple of weeks ago against Cleveland, and Izell Jenkins has taken over that spot. Jenkins himself, a former starter, number 46. But a couple of times now they have tried to go at Jenkins.
How are they showing a first down out there?
It is a first down. You know, I just thought of what that penalty was. It was a continuing action foul. I'll explain it in a second. It's first down from the 32 as Moon goes deep, but too deep for Jeffries, who had a step on Allen, but that wasn't enough. On that play, it's what they call a continuous or continuing action foul. The play counts, but the penalty is factored in. So he got the 11-yard gain with the 5-yard penalty, and it made it 1st and 4.
After it was down, I thought they would give them the first down, move the yard markers, and make it a 1st and 15. But you're right, it's a continuing action foul.
But he made the announcement and said it was 1st and 15.
Well, that's what I thought it would have been, because
never believe everything you hear.
Yeah, really.
Whoa, as this game got complex.
Words of wisdom for our audience, for sure.
Givens is back in the game. It is 2nd and 10 at the 32-yard line. No score, 2:12 to play in the first quarter. And Moon gets dropped. The ball is loose. And Houston has maintained possession. Seth Joyner is the guy who creates the fumble. And Don Maggs, the tackle, covers up.
Well, Joyner's been listening to you talk about his first 15 minutes last week. Here we go again. Seth Joyner has been everywhere tonight.
He's been that way all year. 3 interceptions coming into tonight's game. Al talked about his 2 fumble recoveries, or forced fumbled. One he took in himself, and the other one Clyde Simmons took in. Here he is with a sack. We've seen him deep in the coverage. He's just having a great year.
I talked about him at the top of the show about how he's their wild card. Everybody gets so preoccupied with that front 4. He pretty well roams at will and really causes some real problems.
3rd and 14. Moon has to get him out to the 42-yard line. The catch is made at the 37 by Givens. but he is out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. Thus, he is shy of the first down. Otis Smith with the coverage.
Well, if you wonder whether they earned their money or not, Givens went off shaking, wobbling off the field. They treated what they said could very well be a broken nose, and now he's back in the game and he makes the reception.
He's got a shield though on his face mask. That's new. That wasn't there before. So some additional protection for the old damaged schnoz.
Greg Montgomery had a great year last year. Would have led the league in punting, but he didn't punt enough. Didn't have the minimum number of punts. This is not a particularly good kick. And it is out of bounds at the 27-yard line, and Philadelphia will take it at that spot. 56 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Kind of shaky beginning, but when you consider what's on the line here tonight, and for the Oilers, a continuing battle with Buffalo for that home field in the playoffs. They win the division if they win tonight. And the Eagles, well, it's not sudden death, but they look at it as sudden death. They're 7-5, and they feel they must win tonight.
Look how close we've been, though, to a couple big plays. It takes a replay reversal to take away the catch by Barnett, and Tony Jones is wide open for Houston, and Moon overthrows him. I mean, we've been on the verge of some scoring in this ballgame. Very close.
Eagles from their own 27-yard line. The short drop on McMahon, the quick flip to Williams, and Williams gets popped up at the 35-yard line after an 8-yard gain.
Yeah, we've talked about Seth Joyner tonight, the left linebacker for the Oilers, having himself quite a year or two. Lamar Lathan has his own 3 interceptions, a 52-yard touchdown early in the year against Cincinnati. He's been everywhere. Forced several fumbles this year. Jack Pardee, of course, coached him and took him number 1 out of the University of Houston.
2nd and 2. That's Byers in the backfield behind McMahon. They give it to Keith Byers. He finds room to the 40. That's a first down. He is tackled by Johnny Meads, and that will end the first quarter. So they play the period in fits and starts here at the Astrodome. End of 1, no score. And we'll return with Monday Night Football after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Gave us so many thrills. The '84 Olympics, won the all-around gold there. She's with her husband, a former University of Texas quarterback, Shannon Kelly, and they're looking on and enjoying tonight's game.
And they're looking on as we begin the second quarter with no score. Philadelphia first and 10 at its own 40-yard line. Jim McMahon throws a duck, but it's caught by Keith Byers, a wobbler up at the 47, tackled by Lathan. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Pontiac and your Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and here are the numbers through the first 15 minutes of play. A scoreless game.
A lot of low numbers there, but as Dan mentioned a moment ago, a couple of possibilities, a couple of passes just off the fingertips and one that was reversed.
Well, I think the big number is that Houston has already had 2 turnovers, and Philadelphia has 0 points to show for it. That is a key stat.
2nd and 3. Here's James Joseph, and he goes nowhere as he is banged back by the outside linebacker Johnny Meads.
I believe he was repelled.
Yes, he was.
He spent so much time talking about the Philadelphia defense, and really have not touched so much on Houston, but they came into tonight after last weekend, the 7th in the league, and there's Jim Eddie, the defensive coordinator, done a superb job. He's been with Jack Pardee from his days with he was in the USFL here with the Gamblers and University of Houston, and they're quite a pair. And they came in, they put in the beloved 4-3 of Jack Pardee. That's what he played with the Rams and Washington Redskins, and they went back to it.
3rd and 3. McMahon, that's his nicest looking pass of the night, caught by Green, first down to the 32. And McMahon, who has to take shots and have that elbow massaged all day long on game day, is not the man who's hurt. That's Ron Heller, his roommate, who is shaken up. The tackle, 73.
Oh, and this will really deal a fit to the Philadelphia offensive line. They'll have to go into Heller is really an anchor for them. Heller and David Alexander, their center, the two real anchors on that line, with Ron Sold at the right guard. And now Anton Davis is really going to have to carry more than his own weight over at right tackle. Daryl Smith, number 63, will come in. Let's see if we can pick up the injury. He's working against Sean Jones. Good work so far.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there comes Ray Childress flying in there, and he's blocked into the legs of Heller. Watch on the left side of your screen. That's Childress coming in, and you can see he collapses the right knee. And boy, does Heller, did you see him pull it out? He was able to get it out of there, and I think that really helped a great deal.
He just did get it out, too. That could have been horrible.
Meanwhile, downfield, really a nice catch by Jetstream Roy Green.
What a story Roy Green came in the fourth week when they were down to nothing. Calvin Williams was hurt. Everybody was limping around, and he came in. They put him in against the Steelers. 6 receptions on that day, and was the great All-Pro from the St. Louis Cardinals. At the age of 34, still performing.
And officials timeout.
That's a little baby girl, as cute as you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And there's a lucky guy, I think. They're taping the ankle of Ron Heller, and great instincts on his part to pull that right leg out from underneath the flying Ray Childress.
Daryl Smith takes his spot on the line. 1st and 10, Eagles from the 32 with no score early in the second quarter. And McMahon throws right into the arms of Bo Orlando. And Orlando brings it back to the 32-yard line.
And Frank, I'll let you explain where he was attempting to throw that ball.
There was not an eagle in the area, and he had plenty of time. Somebody could have changed up a pattern on him there.
I can only assume he was trying to hit Maurice Johnson, the tight end, who just ran a curl about 10 yards down the field, and the ball went sailing way over his head.
Well, they kept Keith Jackson in to help over the left side, help Daryl Smith over there, and Maurice Johnson's only had 2 receptions on the year, so if anything was messed up, I'm sure Johnson kind of messed it up. There he is. He just fired it over the top of, maybe trying to throw it away.
Penalty is on the run back, by the way.
Yeah, right. You saw that, and that's going to occur during the run back here. And so Houston will have the ball offensively, just not in as good a field position as they thought. But that ball just did. I mean, watch, here's a great look at it. Good 3 or 4 yards over the head of Maurice Johnson.
So again, the Eagles cannot capitalize. 4 times Philadelphia has had the ball in Houston territory tonight, and no points. 1st and 10 from the 20, and Alan Pinkett threads his way over right guard for 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
You know, it's really, you know, as we look at McMahon on the sideline, it really makes what Philadelphia has accomplished defensively all the more impressive, because this is really, in microcosm, a good look at what the season has been like for the Eagles offensively. I mean, it has been a real stuttering offense, very little continuity on a week-in and week-out basis. And you have to admire that much more what the Eagles have accomplished defensively.
2nd and 5, Moon to Hill, and that's enough for a 1st down. Well, the one thing they do, Dan, is at least McMahon's been able to do enough for them to revitalize the defense, because clearly when he was out, I mean, that was asking too much of the defense, and they lost 4 straight.
Like last week, though, McMahon had a bad hand against Phoenix. He threw the 3 interceptions. The defense, they just annihilated Phoenix. They had 4 interceptions. They had 3 fumble recoveries, 3 sacks, and they just hung around and kept the Eagles in the game long enough till they finally won it. They have been the unit that has held them together, and McMahon has at times been brilliant, as he was for throwing over 340 yards against Cleveland in a come-from-behind win.
But not tonight so far. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line, and Jeffries gets hit by Allen and can't make the catch, and Haywood wants to know where the flag is.
Oh, it's so close. Allen timing everything out to arrive with the ball, and he was close.
Well, we talk about life on the edge. That's what a cornerback that's the way he has to live and the way he has to play. And he's there well before the football. And I think you can tell by the crowd noise, they saw that replay at the same time you did.
Well, we're seeing it in slow motion, though, and when you run at a regular speed, it's just hard to say. He didn't get the flag.
11 minutes to play in the half. No score. 2nd and 10 from the Houston 31. Talk about nothing there except Jerome Brown. Hello to Alan Pinkett.
Pinkett is lucky he didn't get spiked.
Report from the Eagle bench on Heller, sprained ankle. He will most likely return.
Well, we all know that Notre Dame and the University of Miami have had some great rivalries, and there was a continuation of it right there. Notre Dame meets Miami, and Miami wins.
Look at Heller on the sideline, and the man who is spelling him for the moment anyway, Darryl Smith.
Oh, Heller is so lucky.
3rd and 11 for the Oilers from the 30-yard line. Drew Hill is the man in motion. Here they come on the blitz, and that's John Booty giving Moon a greeting at the 19-yard line.
A changing look by Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator. They come with the safety blitz. They bring Seth Joyner, one of the linebackers, and it's really tough to protect your quarterback. You don't have a tight end you can keep in and protect. That means those defensive ends are coming in from so much closer. Here they come. Booty is the bottom of your screen, and there's just no way that Munchak could get out there and get him. Had he been on the outside of a tight end, he would have been far enough for Munchak to get there.
Here's Montgomery to punt. Rod Harris back to receive. It's a bad kick.
Good bounce.
It's a very, very good Houston bounce. That was a terrible looking kick, and they're fanning it, and it's a 27-yard bounce and roll. That'll look pretty good at contract time. 9:43 to go in a scoreless first half.
Better to be lucky than good.
Moon was lucky.
Whether it would be high scoring or low scoring, clearly nothing on the board yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of points before the night's done.
I think, again, it's a real credit to Bud Carson, what he's done. He's changing defenses almost on every play.
Yeah, but you got two defenses that are allowing, 16 and 14 points a game. So, I mean, a lot of points in a game like this is 20.
Well, I think the defenses are capable of creating some points on their own, as Philadelphia proved last week. Houston clearly can do it. But to this point in the game, we played 20 minutes and a couple of zeros up on the board as Byers takes around the right side for a gain of about 4.
The one thing that is obvious as you watch these two teams go at each other is that it's December. I mean, like in hockey, the way it picks up during the playoffs, and the same in any sport in postseason, the month of December in the NFL falls into that category. The urgency involved with both teams knowing that they have to win a game, it's what makes it exciting even if there's no score.
2nd and 7. Ron Heller is back in the game, and that is rejected by Doug Smith. And Houston has a 99 of its own.
That's right. Jerome Brown batted one for the Eagles wearing 99, and there's Big Doug doing it.
Houston coming with the blitz, and Doug Jones just laying off the line of scrimmage out there to pick up a screen if there was one. Jim McMahon read it, tried to go to the short man, and he batted it away. Doug Smith having a big year after a troublesome one a year ago with a bad back. McMahon is perfect in his read, tries to get it to the back coming out of the backfield, and Smith laying on the line of scrimmage looking for a draw or a screen, bats it away.
3rd and 7. 8:51 to go. First half. Nothing. 4-man rush. Pressure in the second. McMahon is dropped at the 16-yard line by the two outside men, Sean Jones and William Fuller.
And if you were wondering, Ron Heller was back in the offensive line. That was just a total collapse right along the line of scrimmage.
I think William Fuller went through 3 people to get there. He went by Anton Davis. Keith Jackson, the tight end, is staying in there as well. Watch Fuller, 95, go between Jackson, go between Davis, and then he's going to run over a back. Then he goes right through James Joseph and ends up on top of the quarterback.
And Jackson couldn't even hold him.
You triple team a guy and he still sacks your quarterback.
They're going to get one of these before the night's over.
Jeff Fiegels, there's a flag down. It's out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. There's a flag at the line of scrimmage. Tom Dooley will tell us.
They're getting closer and closer to blocking a kick.
disregard the flag. There is no foul. He pulled a man on the line of scrimmage, but nobody went through the hole. TV time.
Okay.
Well, you're not allowed to pull anyone out of the line of scrimmage if you bring a linebacker through that gap.
TV time, huh? Commercial.
Let's sell something.
Tonight, complimenting the great Craig T. Nelson and coach, Tim Allen and Home Improvement, Full House, Roseanne, Home Front, all part of the big Tuesday night lineup right here on ABC. 1st and 10 for the Oilers from the 44-yard line. Moon throws over the middle, and Drew Hill makes the catch. Did he have possession? Wes Hopkins was there, and they are saying incomplete.
This time Drew Hill, and again Wes Hopkins, and Drew Hill stays on the carpet, and the pass that could have been ruled incomplete, I think.
Well, that's the kind of hit that Wes Hopkins needs to make from that free safety position, but without throwing the elbow, which is exactly what he did not do there. I mean, that is a clean, legitimate hit. That's the way the game is supposed to be played. 1 is down, 2 is down. I think that's a legitimate catch. I think that is a legitimate catch.
Well, I think a more concern is the moment of Drew Hill, and he fortunately is getting up. He took a tremendous shot. You saw his head just ricochet back. Hopkins coming in there with the shoulder, perfectly legal. When you send those little guys across the middle, that's what's going to happen.
Well, I think he came down. Now, just toss this out. There's 1, there's 2. He gets hit, and then the ball comes out when he hits the ground. I mean, that.
What they're saying is that he did catch the football, but he came down, and the ground caused the fumble.
Yeah, I mean, it appeared to me that he demonstrated that he had the football, and that the ball did not come out until he was down on the ground after he demonstrated he had it.
And they're bringing it back, and the little grin that we've seen so many times.
Right. I mean, I think you can make a legitimate argument that should be Houston's ball at that point.
That first down yardage. You could ask Drew Hill. He probably doesn't recall what happened.
Yeah.
They'll look at him for a while.
Well, they ruled it an incomplete pass on the field.
I think they're going to look at this in the booth.
The play has been ruled incomplete on the field. It's 2nd down. It's being reviewed.
Tom Kelleher is the replay official.
The criteria is that they want you to have both feet on the ground and demonstrate that you have possession. After the vicious hit by Hopkins, a vicious but legal hit, I thought possession was intact until Hill goes down and touches the ground. I mean, at that point in time, it's a legitimate catch. I think he's got the ball there. He's still got it there, and then the ball comes out. I mean, Richie, of course, doesn't understand the need for a replay. Whose ox is being gored, I think, is the appropriate question here. And the goree that time was Drew Hill.
And I think at Drew Hill, he's been doing this for 12 years. Came from the Los Angeles Rams back in '85.
We have a reversal. It's a catch.
We're going to bring it up. Give Houston a
I mean, I think that's
first down. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think that's why we have the system. Like it or don't like it, that's where it works effectively.
I think Richie is saying if it was a completion, why wasn't it a fumble?
Well, but Richie's thinking that the hit by Hopkins knocked the ball out, and it did not.
It did, and he was told that by the line judge.
Right. That is exactly the way we described it, and that is an effective use of instant replay. There, Jim thinks that ought to make you happy.
And earlier we saw one with Barnett, which could have led to a quick Eagles touchdown. They brought that back. But I wonder if we're going to get to position to where we look at every reception with the replay, stopping and starting the game.
Well, I think better would have been if you would have sent that message collect. First down for the Oilers at the 36-yard line after a 19-yard gain. Moon, here's the screen to Pinkett, and that screen never develops because Clyde Simmons was right there to help break it up. 96.
You have a pretty good front four when they're out there making plays that normally fall in the domain of the linebackers. I mean, when you've got Simmons and Brown and people like that out there snuffing screens, normally a job for the linebackers. That's when you got talent to spare.
Well, as Bud Carson said when he inherited this job, just the best, collectively, it's the best defensive line group he's ever coached, and we got to go back. He coached that Steel Curtain group with the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the early 70s. He says this is the best he's ever had.
2nd and 11 at the 37-yard line. 7 minutes to go in the half. No score. Draw to Pinkett. Knocked away by Joyner. He's amazing. Eagles have it again. He is amazing.
Well, book this guy a room in Hawaii because he's going to the Pro Bowl.
That's the tandem of Joyner and Simmons. Last week in Phoenix, we mentioned Joyner was able to create a fumble in the end zone, and Simmons recovered it, and they pull it off again here.
Yeah. Well, they ought to. Maybe they'll room together.
By the way, Pinkett does not fumble all year long carrying the football. One of the reasons he was in there tonight, because the Eagles do this all the time. The Auries are trying to strip the ball. They're very successful. This time Pinkett coughs it up.
Maybe Joyner and Simmons will room together.
First down for the Eagles from the 33. They have been unable to capitalize on all of the breaks the defense has given them. This pass is caught up at the 40-yard line by Calvin Williams. That's a gain of 6.
The guy for Philadelphia that's been very quiet tonight is Keith Jackson, the tight end. I mean, he is a bona fide weapon that I think in this type of a game is really an attractive target for Jim McMahon.
Well, they've been using him so much, Dan, staying in and blocking. Being concerned a little bit about making sure that McMahon is secure back there in the pocket.
2nd and 4 at the 40. Byers nearly was stopped behind the line of scrimmage and then just keeps on moving and has a first down as he gets it across midfield to the 48-yard line of the Oilers.
And you know who really sprung him? Ron Heller, who comes back into the ball game, makes a nice seal block on the left side. A guy who's back in there after hurting his ankle, and he's the guy that really allowed Keith Byers to spring out of there. There's Heller there at the top of the screen. He comes down, and he's going to turn back to the outside. Sean Jones misses the tackle, and the rest is all Keith Byers.
Oh, what an effort by Byers.
Boy, you got it.
This is the 5th time Philadelphia has had the ball in Houston territory. McMahon, that's caught by Williams. He's tackled at the 41-yard line by Richard Johnson, and that's a gain of 7. Clock running with 5:15 to go in a thus far scoreless first half.
Get the idea that eventually somebody will score.
I think.
Jim McMahon has an amazing ability to read defenses. Every time you talk to one of the Eagles or their coaches particularly, they're almost in awe of the way he can read a defense so quickly and deliver the football. Physically, he just still can't move around out there much, but he usually has a place to put it. Threw a bad one tonight. There was an interception, but rather rare.
Here comes an audible.
2nd and 3. And that's too high, intended for Keith Jackson, and there's a marker down in the offensive backfield. And that's against the Oilers, and that is going to give Philadelphia a first down.
Illegal use of the hands, number 99 on defense. It will be first down, 5-yard penalty, pushed his head.
Doug Smith.
And when a 300-pounder pushes your head is pushed.
Except he's pushing a 300-pound head normally. There's Doug Smith at the top. You see him just bending back John Hudson, I believe, who's in at left guard. I mean, it's when a 300-pound hand is pushing a 300-pound head.
You got to push it.
Doug baby's got to wet it down where the old radiator's overheating.
First down at the 36-yard line. McMahon sets up the screen for Byers. And that's a nice tackle made by Johnny Meads as Byers tried to cut it back inside at the 35-yard line.
Eagles drifting back into what they did against Phoenix, and instead of running the ball, they use a little two-man screen to almost turn it into their running game. There you see it, the two men out in front of it, and it's really nothing more than running the football.
The timing really looks screwed up on that one, Frank. Byers was 3 yards outside his two blockers. Neither one of them ever got a chance to do anything for him. He's got to stay back to the inside.
Exactly.
And choke his motor a little bit and let one of those guys get a kick-out block.
2nd and 8, one of the rare times tonight. Philly comes up on a two-back set. And McMahon throws a wobbly duck that's incomplete. Keith Jackson says, "Where's the flag?" McDowell covering, and the official says it's in my pocket. 3rd down.
I think he might have had a legitimate "where's the flag" too. It's very close as McDowell was in there on the double coverage of Jackson. Every time he comes off the line of scrimmage, they're picking up 2 men on him.
They're timing the hits pretty good out here tonight on both sides.
Now having a good year as 4 interceptions for the Oilers. 2 or 3 fumble recoveries.
3rd and 8 at the 35. 3:44 to go in the half. No score. Shotgun. Blocked at the 31 by Roy Green. McMahon hobbling.
He's hobbling from the brace that he wears on the right knee. He's down to 1 brace now. We saw him early in the year with a couple of them, but it's a less cumbersome one also there on the right knee, as you can see. But here he fires one to Roy Green. Roy Green says, "I don't have enough for the first." Kind of looks that one out of the hands as he checks out Dishman, who's going to unload on him.
Yeah, I think
Roy kind of bat that in a way.
I think you could say that he was checking out Dishman.
Eagles want a timeout to determine their next move here. 3:39 remaining. They're a little far for Ruzek. The line of scrimmage is the 35. Timeout Philly. Field goal. Longest this year, as you see, 48. Last year in Miami outside, he kicked a 53-yarder and a key one.
Well, forget that. Now he's coming off the field and they're going to punt it.
I think they probably are concerned about it getting blocked out here. They're very sure of their defense. They just don't want anything blocked at this point. The trajectory off the field goal from this far has to be so low that could be blocked very easily.
Eagles hangs it, but the Eagles cannot down it. And thus it comes back to the 20-yard line.
And they pick up 15 yards on this punt.
3:31 remaining. Now, we talked about the remaining schedule earlier of the Eagles. The Giants have the toughest remaining schedule of those in playoff contention. The Raiders, who meet Buffalo next week in L.A., the second toughest. And then Philly, including tonight's opponent, the 3rd toughest. So it's going to be a tough road to the playoffs for the Eagles or the Giants. And there it is here tonight. Meadowlands next Sunday, and then home against Dallas and Washington. The only good news in facing Washington is the Redskins could have everything locked up by that weekend. That game may not mean anything to the Redskins.
The Oilers have got a tough looking schedule ahead too. We'll talk about that later.
Moon had a little trouble with the snap, and then has a lot of trouble with guess who?
Oh, don't even say it.
Now maybe you'll stop off in Canton on the way to Hawaii this year.
Seth Joyner.
Get fitted for a bust.
A career and a night and a half.
He's had a great year, and of course he's sort of been in the shadow of Reggie White and Clyde Simmons and Jerome Brown for a long time. He's played this way for several years now. Came up as an 8th-round draft pick, a little guy, about 215, 220 pounds, and he's developed into one of the premier linebackers around.
2 sacks.
A great look at him tonight.
2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery after the Hall of Fame first quarter he had in Phoenix last week. That's an 11-yard sack. 2nd and 21. Under 3 minutes to go in the half. Here's Jeffries. And that's a nice open field tackle by Wes Hopkins at the 15-yard line, making it 3rd and 15. Houston, I mean, this is an offensive powerhouse, or has been. But tonight, look at this. Fumble, punt, punt, fumble. And on this drive, they are 3rd and 14.
It looks like the usual regular play sheet for the Philadelphia defense, though.
Go back to the next to last week of 1989. That's the last time the Oilers did not score in the first half. 3rd and 14. Joyner showing blitz there in the middle. But then he backs off into coverage. And Moon throws, and that's complete up at the 28, but not enough for a first down. Jeffries makes the catch, but they gave him room underneath. Booty with the tackle, and the Oilers have to kick as we come to the 2-minute warning.
Good play by Booty. Former Jet, played under Bud Carson with the Jets, and he forces the play inside first down yardage on the part of Jeffries.
7 possessions for the Oilers. 3 fumbles, 4 punts.
We have our annual visit by Professor Irwin Corey to try to explain it.
He's here. Houston to kick on 4th and 2. Montgomery to punt it. Ron Harris, that's a great kick. Tremendous kick. Harris fields at the 11. Nearly gets tackled at the 9 and then does.
Boy, we're putting the calculator to it now. 60 yards.
And -3 on the return.
A net 63-yard punt. That'll work for you.
So Montgomery booms one, pins the Eagles inside their 10. And Philadelphia now sputtering and stumbling offensively in the first half with 2 timeouts at their disposal.
And importantly, the Oilers have 3 timeouts at their disposal. So if we see a very limited production here on first down by Philadelphia, watch for Houston to call a timeout in a hurry.
Yep. From the 9-yard line, Maurice Johnson goes in motion. McMahon drops it off to Byers, and he's tackled at the 6. Now will Houston take a timeout here?
Guys, what are you doing? What are they doing?
It'll be 2nd down and 13, and the Oilers were looking over at the bench, but
it's nothing
no
ball
indication.
game. How do you not? Oh, man, what are you doing, guys?
You know, it's the old story. We've been seeing this week after week after week. Clock management. You just want to hire an assistant coach. Clock management only. 1:19 to go in the half.
Well, that hurts there.
Defensive team before the play. If it's a negative yardage or short yardage, call the timeout instantly.
Absolutely. 2nd and 13 at the 6. Here's a draw. James Joseph, he takes it to the 8. Now Houston should take it.
You'll get it quick
and
now.
They do. They take it very quickly.
That's it, guys.
And it'll be 3rd and 11. And we'll take a timeout as well. A brief one. You can count on the Oilers taking their last timeout.
And if the Eagles try for the first down and it's an incomplete pass, Houston is spared having to use that final timeout. So if it is going to be in the air, look for some very high percentage toss.
McMahon from the gun.
Oh, I think we had a false start on the right guard.
Rob Selby.
Yeah, we had a quiver.
Little hard count by McMahon, a little lift of the right foot.
Prior to the snap, we have a false start. 75 offense.
I guess it was McMahon's left foot. But when you're thinking defense out there, you're thinking get to the quarterback. Watch McMahon's left foot with a little hard count. Watch his jaw. Wang. And here they come. Center David Alexander popping his head up also, which he's allowed to do.
3rd and 14 from, we'll call it the 5-yard line. 3rd and 14. McMahon going deep, and the catch is made by Barnett. The pass floated Did he get both feet in? Apparently he did. Richard Johnson with the coverage on the play, but what is Dooley saying?
Well, they're saying he was out.
They're saying he was out, but take another look at this.
If he's out on this one, this will be 2 for Barnett tonight.
What looked like the initial call by the referee on the sidelines, by the official on the sidelines, was a legitimate catch, but then he quickly waved it off. Ooh. Well, his right foot. Well, the question, he got the left foot in, but the official ruled him out, and there's no replay.
After it looked, and you're right, Dan, it looked as if he had called him in. There is no review. The punt fielded by Coleman. He's tackled immediately at the 42.
What a great punt by Fiegels. Oh.
That incompletion did save them the timeout. That's a 54-yard kick. Houston still has a timeout to use and 57 seconds on the clock. Here's another peek. This is as close as it gets.
Well, he twisted his right foot out after he caught the football.
Yeah, that you can see.
The official's right on top of that.
Oh, and you can see that it's out of bounds. Yeah. The right foot is almost the entire width of his foot. And how could the official be in any better position than right there? I mean, he is exactly beside Barnett.
Meanwhile, Fiegels banged a beauty. It was 54 yards. That's not all that long, but he hung it up there and got the coverage underneath, and the Oilers couldn't return it.
So now the Oilers will attempt to at least get into field goal range from their own 42-yard line. Boone protected well. To catch Tony Jones, but he is out of bounds.
He was sitting out of bounds, it looked like. We've had some plays on the sidelines, haven't we, tonight?
Mm-hmm. And we've had a few over the middle as well that the receivers have paid the price for.
A few times Moon has had time to get rid of anything other than the short pass.
Oh, that's a catch.
He may have had the left foot out of bounds.
Yep.
Let's look at
when he caught the ball.
The knees are in. Let's see where the feet are.
Where's the left foot?
They're going to review it. Where's the left foot?
I think that's a catch. He's in bounds.
Again, is it conclusive?
Here we go. Well, our high end zone looked conclusive from behind.
The officials have ruled a catch out of bounds completed on the field.
What was that? Completed out of bounds?
Now that is covering all aspects.
Yeah. You talk about Irwin Corey.
I mean, if it's out of bounds, it's an incompletion.
I mean, it's almost sad. It is getting ridiculous.
Well,
something has got to be done. Whatever it is, something has got to be done.
Well, I mean, Tom Dooley just misspoke. Yeah. I mean, let's not be too hard on him, but I know the point.
We're going to be here till breakfast. They're looking to review everything at the sidelines.
Well, they have to. I mean, the guy rules it an incompletion, and it looks pretty close to a completed pass. If the system's in place, you have to look at that.
Oh, look there. We're looking at the scoreboard now.
I thought it was a catch.
After further review, the play will stand as called at second down.
Well, see, there's
inconclusive, they're saying. That left foot might have been out of bounds, even though the knees were clearly in.
A lot of it depends on how you look at it, whether you took the points or gave the points, isn't it?
All right. See, everybody's got a different opinion.
Second and 10. Moon deep into traffic and nearly picked off by Eric Allen, intended for Leonard Harris, who was amongst a trio of birds. Third and 10.
Moon looking for one of a couple of things, a catch, and he throws into coverage, or some kind of pass interference call down there. Eric Allen going up, and he usually is sure-handed. 4 interceptions on the year, the former Pro Bowler.
And I doubt any of those previous 4 would have been as easy as that one. That's one you'll seldom see a guy like Eric Allen put back down.
Third and 10, 40 seconds left in the first half. No score.
Now we're going to have,
I don't know what this one is,
or whatever you want to call it.
Frank, you're right. I want Eggs Benedict and coffee. What about you?
Well,
it's just such a great game to slow down. Stop and start, stop and start. I'm sorry. I've tried to stay off it, but something's got to be done.
Third down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Givens in motion. Simmons puts the heat on. They get it off to Pinkett. And Pinkett takes it to the 45 of Philadelphia. That's a first down. They have one timeout left. Clock running.
And keep in mind, they could have another 25 seconds, too, if they wouldn't have wasted it.
Yep. Moon downs it to stop the clock, preserve the timeout. 20 ticks left.
And there's a big difference between having 19 seconds and 45 seconds.
Al Del Greco, the kicker for the Oilers, has a career best of 52 yards, so they're going to have to move it upfield. They'd like to get it somewhere down around between the 25 and 30-yard line.
Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator.
You remember Al Del Greco when he was in Phoenix? That time we were there for a Monday night game. They ran a fake field goal towards the end of the first half on like 4th and 17 or 20 yards to go.
Yep.
They didn't make it.
Close. Moon throws, and that's batted incomplete, and that is Eric Allen who got his hand on it. And we're down to 15 seconds. Pass intended for Jeffries.
The Eagles lost a very talented cornerback in Ben Smith, who tore up his knee and is going to be out for the rest of the year and probably part of next year. Izell Jenkins has replaced him, and yet Warren Moon continues to try to work over here to Eric Allen's side of the field. And I'd try to find greener pastures somewhere than challenging number 21, Eric Allen, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL.
Exactly right. There are a lot easier people around than locating 21.
3rd and 10 at the 45-yard line. This is a free play as the Eagles jump. Moon goes deep, and that's batted by number 30, Otis Smith. There's a marker down. That play took 6 seconds. We're down to 9 seconds remaining. Reggie White had come across the line.
That ball was just underthrown.
12 offsides, 92 defense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Moon again being effective, switching up the snap counts. You can watch his body. You see how forcefully he's barking out the signals, and I touched on it earlier. That can be such an aid to your offensive line and your pass protection as a whole. Ooh, is this guy good?
Still not in field goal range. It's 3rd down and 5 at the 40.
They should probably try and throw it over the middle and then get the timeout. They're not going to get anything on the outside. There they go.
Moon over the middle. The catch is made, and the timeout is called as Givens gets tackled by Miano, and at least they will get an opportunity to take the lead on a Del Greco field goal.
Eagles were not giving up anything on the outside. That's a good call. You pop it over the middle. You just did have the time to call timeout.
And a 42-yard attempt for Del Greco.
You could be the first ones to put the points up, and that could make a big difference. You know what I have to notice too, Dan and Al, is when you play the Oilers, one of the things that happens to your defensive linemen, and even the great Reggie White and Clyde Simmons, every play is a wind sprint for them. Moon putting that ball 45 times in the air, that's going to be a wind sprint every time for them. And they have to think draw, they have to think screen, but they're really thinking getting to the quarterback, and along about now, the fatigue is going to start to settle in. It's an entirely different game you play if you're a defensive lineman.
From a physical standpoint, purely physical in terms of stamina, it is much easier to pass protect than it is to pass rush. To validate your point, Frank, you're exactly right.
A little slow getting to Moon already, but let's hang around and see what happens, say, late in the 3rd, the 4th quarter, because he'll still be dropping back there. He'll still be throwing the football, and you'll still have to get in his face.
42-yard attempt for Del Greco. Final play of the half. And he just makes it. Just inside the left upright.
A veritable avalanche of points here in the first half.
Long first half. It ends with Houston on top. Oilers on top. Another look. It doesn't get any closer than this. 3-0 Houston. And we'll be back with halftime activities after this message from the NFL. And a word from our ABC stations. Been a long drought.
Those were some great old teams they had, though, weren't they? Some of those old AFL championship teams.
Old Jefferson Stadium.
The original run and shoot.
Second half kickoff into the arms of Heath Sherman. There's a flag. There's a fumble.
And another flag comes in even later.
And I can only assume they're ruling the ball down before the ball was seen rolling around. Didn't Hoyle Granger play for the Oilers?
Certainly did.
One of the great names ever to play the game.
We got an illegal block. Number 42 on the run back. 10-yard penalty will be first down.
John Booty.
And there it is. Pretty obvious.
I'd say that's a little illegal.
It's almost like our camera guys were looking for him. How about if Hoyle Granger and Hokie Gaijan were in the same backfield? That would, of course, Bobby Hebert would have to be the quarterback.
The Don Klosterman that brought the old Oilers together. He signed anyone who he could put a pen in their hand. Some of them were already signed. It didn't matter. They were building a league, not just a football team.
Eagles start from their own 8-yard line, 1st and 10. And they give it to Keith Byers, and that's a 1-yard gain. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Magnavox. Smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. 3-0 the score at the half. And here are the numbers.
And how do you figure it? Houston with 3 turnovers. Pitching a shutout.
Oilers 10 yards rushing.
They were able to move that ball when there was urgency at the end of the half, though, to get it in field position.
2nd and 9. Juggling fingertip catch made by Byers. He gets hit
hurt
by Orlando.
Right on the knee.
Shaken up.
Low tackle, caught the knee, and he's grabbing at it.
Orlando doesn't go upstairs, goes the way that most people in this league go after Keith Byers because of his tremendous upper body strength.
Oh, that's what you hate to see. He does get up and walk back to the huddle, but you saw the knee just collapse, the left knee, and he is now, I think beginning to have second thoughts about staying in that huddle.
Boy, you certainly hope Byers can continue to play. His versatility would be a tremendous loss for Philadelphia.
He has to come out for at least one play. What they did is they stopped the clock for the injury. And so even though he wanted to continue on, he must come out for one play, and Heath Sherman will take his place here.
There's kind of the hyperextension, and the foot fortunately did not stick on the carpet. Orlando coming up, and you're right, Alan. And Dan, that's how you take on Keith Byers when you're Orlando. You weigh 180 pounds and he weighs 240. You take him up high and you get a long ride.
3rd and 6 now from the 12. Early 3rd quarter. 3-0 Oilers. Fake draw. Fake screen. McMahon with a ton of time, drops it off for Joseph. There's a flag. For the moment, he has a first down. Lathan runs him down from the rear, but let's see about the call.
I think lineman downfield. That screen, they got off the screen, then they came back to it, and the linemen were standing out there, and then one of them might have eased downfield.
Well, how long, this is a question, how long can you expect them to not go downfield?
They don't get to go down there very often, do they, Dan?
No. I mean, it's a screen to the left side, and that's exactly the call, but you talk about a slow developing play. Al's call was right on. Fake draw, fake screen to the right, sit back in the end zone for another 3 or 4 seconds, and then finally dump it out to the left side.
Got an illegal receiver downfield, number 66, and that penalty's declined. We got offensive pass interference on number 88. It will be 3rd down, half the distance.
Now watch this. The line of scrimmage is the 12. And you can see they're sold clear up at the 15-yard line. McKnight up there as well. dual penalties here. Keith Jackson called for the offensive interference.
Well, he was blocking downfield while the ball was in the air and right in front of an official, which is a major compounding a mistake.
Actually, it didn't matter which penalty they accepted there. They were going to go half the distance to the goal line on either count. 3rd and 12. Byers is back in the game. The ball is at the 6. McMahon to the far side. That's a catch there by Fred Barnett, and Barnett has enough for a first down. Fred Barnett living along that sideline.
Working against Richard Johnson again, and Johnson had help to the inside, and he is really respecting the speed of Barnett. Barnett loves to take it deep.
Redefining the phrase.
Look at him lay off,
cushion.
though. And Johnson's almost out of the picture, laying off at least 6 or 7 yards. There's the help he was looking for underneath from Darrell Lewis. It was too little and too late, and Barnett gets an important first down for Philadelphia.
1st and 10 up at the 22. Oilers ahead 3-0 early 3rd quarter. Here's Joseph, and the 7th round choice out of Auburn. A nice move as he cuts it back and takes it to the 31. Meads and McDowell in on the hit. It'll be 2nd down and 1. Al Smith, there's a guy who doesn't get a lot of publicity, and James Joseph is starting to get a lot more as he has developed into the main running threat. Smith, though, plays with a lot of high-profile defensive people for Houston, so his chances of going to the Pro Bowl would be diminished because of that.
Quietly, though, leads this team in tackles.
Although I believe he's greatly aided by somebody else's misfortune. That would be John Offerdahl at Miami, who is out for the rest of the year because of the knee injury. That might open a door for Al Smith.
McMahon on 2nd and 1 throws a wobbler, caught by Williams. He has a first down before Johnson pushes him back. And then Dishman comes in there to extricate the ball, but well after the whistle had blown to end the play.
Johnson appears to have extricated his senses from his being. That's what's known as trying to get the cobwebs out. Here's a form tackle at regular speed with the audio. That's how you front a guy up. Johnson's still feeling it.
First down to the 35 as James Joseph from the new quarterback Jeff Kemp has come in. McMahon came off, and Jeff Kemp in at quarterback for Philadelphia as they work on it doesn't appear to be serious.
Appear to be looking at his arm, and Jeff Kemp, of course, cut by Seattle early in the year, came in and started one game, and McMahon was hurt and went out with a bad concussion against the 49ers.
Well, I could be premature, of course, but in McMahon's case, with that damaged elbow to begin with, anything could be serious.
Oh, I think he might have dislocated a finger, and they're just trying to pop it back in.
They're testing his strength. They're wanting to see how hard he can squeeze his hand.
2nd and 9 up at the 36. Heath Sherman is in the game in the backfield. Everybody out into the pattern. Joseph makes the catch. Lathan makes the tackle up at the 39-yard line, and that's going to set up a 3rd down and 5 as you look at McMahon.
Jeff Kemp does bring one more dimension than McMahon has. He certainly is not the field leader that McMahon has proven to be, but he also brings a running dimension to the game. He is a good scrambler out of the pocket. I think you're right. They're just could be the elbow. He didn't practice for 2 weeks at all. Just played in a couple of games, and this week he was able to practice 2 days, and they were talking about maybe not even injecting the elbow with Novocaine for tonight's game.
3rd down and 6 now. Kemp, who began the season in Seattle, throws at the feet of Keith Jackson, not even close. Fuller was covering Jackson. He had a defensive end on a tight end, and it's 4th down as they work on Mac's elbow.
You know, he threw a long pass earlier to Fred Barnett, a long out. That was after the first pass right after the half, and that could have maybe got it.
As you can see, good things happen to the Eagles only when Jim McMahon is the quarterback. He has engineered the only touchdown drives of the year, and when Big Mac is on the sidelines, precious little happens for the Eagles.
Flag down at the line of scrimmage. There's a fair catch made at the 19-yard line. There is another flag that was thrown after the initial one went down. And there might be a personal foul on Seal, Eugene Seal of Houston, as the second foul. You have two separate calls here.
It looked like Houston was offsides initially.
It was 4th and 6 at the 39. Here's the personal foul against the Oilers. And there's one other call.
Right now, the most important elbow in Philadelphia. Even though we're in Houston, that was just a manner of speaking.
McMahon didn't work it out at all against Cleveland. Came on, had a big performance with that elbow. He woke up in the morning and they thought he couldn't play. And then last week he couldn't work out. And this week he was able to put in a couple of good sessions, and they were not so much concerned about it.
There's Seal, who winds off with
a offsides. 29 on the defense. Penalty is declined. We got a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 53 with a forearm to the face, doing a post-possession foul, penalized from the end of the run, half the distance.
How big is that? Well, if it had only been the first foul, it wouldn't have been a first down because it was 4th and 6, but this gives them a first down.
There's 53, Seal, right in the middle of the pair. Oh, he's being grabbed by the throat by Rose. And Rose, number 55, is the player that Seal cranks. It's the second guy who always gets caught.
Well, McMahon is attempting to get loose. We'll have to see when Philadelphia gets the ball back. Seal's personal foul, a post-possession foul, so Houston has the ball. The penalty is assessed after the run back. It takes them back to the 10-yard line. Lorenzo White, 44, comes into the game. They had been going with Pinkett as the sole setback, and now it's White, and Moon fumbles and is picked up by Seth Joyner.
Unbelievable.
Unreal.
Unreal is right. Another fumble by Moon and Matthews, the second of the game and the third in 2 weeks. And Warren Moon is being booed lustily by the crowd here at the Astrodome.
And it's going to be Jeff Kemp that's going to come back out for the Eagles.
4th Houston fumble of the game. Never had it. And Joyner is like a magnet.
And when you look at that, it's really impossible to tell whether Moon is too far back and moving back a little early, or if Matthews isn't bringing the ball back far enough. But I know one thing, I don't care how veteran these two players are, I'd get over on the sideline behind the bench and start snapping the ball.
First and goal from the 8. They give it to Byers, and he goes nowhere. Big 99, wrapping him up, Doug Smith. It'll be 2nd and goal.
And
Joyner, who had that week of weeks last week, is doing it again.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Meanwhile, McMahon is being treated on the bench. He's not even considering going back into the game, so it looks like it's going to be up to Jeff Kemp unless something dramatic happens to McMahon's right elbow. It is, we've been told, it is the soreness in the right elbow that has him on the sidelines.
Again, all other Eagle quarterbacks beside McMahon, 44 drives this season, no touchdowns. 2nd and goal. Kemp, that's incomplete. Is there a flag? No, there isn't. Fred Barnett in traffic.
Chris Dishman, who's nursing that sore ankle, shows that he's able to drive and get in on the ball. Right over the top of Ray Childress. Dishman wraps up Barnett around the head, but as the ball got there.
One that could have been caught, albeit Jeff had a lot of steam on that.
There it is again. Every other quarterback but McMahon unable to get this team into the end zone. And this was the 1st and goal. Now it's 3rd and goal. Pressure from Lathan. Catch is made by Jackson, but he can only take it to the 6, but he stays on his feet and then gets it down to the 5-yard line. So it's 4th and goal.
Well, Keith Jackson didn't get a touchdown, but it was not through lack of effort. Don't you love to see a guy who just won't accept being ridden out of bounds? He's going to go back to the inside of the field and try to make something happen. Bubba McDowell right there, the first Oiler to get him. Then Dishman misses, and Big Keith stays alive.
That reminded a little of Mark Bavaro in his heyday.
I love to see that.
They just won't quit.
23-yard field goal for Ruzek. Eagles to hold. And that ties it.
Well, the Oilers continually dodged bullets in the first half with their turnovers, but their first turnover of the second half ends up costing them. Two veterans involved in a very unveteran-like mistake again. Bob Young there on the left, Jack Pardee on the right, and I'm sure Jack is saying, Bob, explain this to me, how your offensive lineman Bruce Matthews and my quarterback Warren Moon can't execute the simplest of center quarterback exchanges. And I'm not sure that Bob had an answer for him. Although Matthews and Moon were practicing on the sideline.
Here's Pat Coleman running back the kick, but not very far, only up to the 12-yard line. Britt Hager makes the tackle, and the Oilers are pinned deep.
You pointed out Bruce Matthews, an all-pro guard and a Pro Bowler many times over, was moved to center when there was an injury early on. But he started every game thus far this season. This is what was going on while the play was going on in the field. They were punting. They were over there working. This is stuff you do in training camp. Warren having a problem a week ago in the loss to Pittsburgh. Pulling away from the center, losing one.
Well, they're doing for the center snap what Dave Kingman did for the fly ball. I know that. They're certainly bringing an air of excitement back to it.
For the fielded fly ball. First down from the 12-yard line. Moon avoids a sack and then throws out of bounds. Yeah.
Guess who?
Seth Joyner again.
Hey, that's...
You know, he's having a great night, but in all honesty, when you have got Reggie White and Clyde Simmons on either end, Jerome Brown pushing the middle, and you have the quickness that a Seth Joyner has, and you can go with a smaller linebacker when you have playing that four-down linemen that are so big. He is so quick out there, he can do it all. But those other guys are making a lot of things possible for him.
Yeah, he has the luxury of coming either from outside on both sides, choosing his gap up the middle. It really is the best of all possible situations.
Those big guys take care of everything else.
Second and 10 at the 12. 7.5 to go in the third. Moon lofting it, and that batted away by Eric Allen. Great move intended for Jeffries. The pass looked as if it was going to be there, and once again, that's the fourth time, I believe, Allen's gotten a hand on it.
Well, I tell you, we can take a look at this again. You're going to see a great play by Eric Allen. He was beaten. He had to get some speed. And what he did, he looked into the eyes of Jeffries. And when Jeffries looks back for the ball, that's the only time Allen turns around. He timed it perfect, and that was a beautiful play.
Well, the happiest man in this stadium is Izell Jenkins, the other corner, who isn't used to having people go after Eric Allen like this. And that's a ball that was a little farther, and that's a completion.
Third and 10. Oilers at the 12. Eagles nearly jump. No flag. Moon under pressure. Pass incomplete.
Well, they come with the safety blitz. The Eagles, they did it so late that Warren Moon had already called the play. They come in on both sides. Now the play has already been called, and there comes the safety blitz. Moon can't change it, and he can't get away from it. And he has to go with the play that he has. The pressure's on him. He can't get the ball to the receiver. That's just great defense. And Bud Carson again, the defensive coordinator, changing things up on every play.
And I'd say that's the look of a guy who is still having a problem.
Montgomery to punt. Harris standing at midfield to receive the kick. Low line drive caught by Harris at the 46, and he is whacked back by Eugene Seal.
Some people are born with a low center of gravity. Eugene Seal is such a person.
Harris, he was mad because he didn't break it. He ought to be happy he's just getting off the field in one piece. Look at this. Walk.
Look at the play selection tonight. 2-1 pass over run for the Eagles. 4-1 Passover run for the Oilers. 21 rushes, 58 passes, no touchdowns. Game tied 3-3.
6 points. Who would have believed it?
Here's Kemp leading the Eagles 1st and 10 at the Oiler 48. James Joseph breaks one inside the 30, nearly fumbled, keeps possession, is out of bounds at the 25. James Joseph, the Auburn rookie.
And going over the right side with the rookie Anton Davis.
Keith Jackson, really the big block at the line of scrimmage. Watch Jackson right here. Watch him come out working against William Fuller, a defensive end, and strings him all the way to the outside. That's the kind of a mismatch a defensive line looks for, getting a defensive end against a tight end. And it pays off big for Philadelphia with the key block by Jackson.
And Davis, the rookie, with a good block closing down on the inside. And James Joseph emerging as the featured back, the rookie 7th-round draft pick out of Auburn.
There is an injured Oiler. I believe that's Dishman. Timeout on the field with 7:06 to go in the 3rd. Home in Houston, Chris Dishman assisted off the field as play resumes at the 24-yard line.
I know one couple looking on with a lot of interest tonight. Cabinet member Jack Kemp, his son, performing out quarterback. Jack and Joanne were there when Jeff suffered a severe concussion against the 49ers. But he is the man that Richie Kotite says he has a lot of faith in. He can do a lot of things. One of them is pull that ball down and run with it.
Jeff trying to legislate the Eagles into the end zone here, and Joseph picks up 5 out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Al Smith gets credit for the tackle. By the way, that last run by Joseph on the preceding play was the longest run from scrimmage all season for the Eagles, 24 yards.
Yeah, but so far it's been a touchdown filibuster by both defenses out here tonight. A 3-3 ball game.
You don't get a whole lot of runs when you're averaging 2.9 a carry. No. You couldn't have too many 30-yard jobs, or that average wouldn't be there.
Well, we have been missing, and as far as points are concerned, we have more than made up for with contact. This has been an extremely hard-hitting game.
That's Williams in motion on 2nd and 7 from the 22-yard line. Hit as he throws, and the pass is caught by Jackson. Touchdown.
Well, the filibuster's over.
I'll tell you, Bo Orlando was draped all over Jackson, and Jackson fought his way through Orlando to make the catch, and Kemp had it right on the target.
And Kemp took a tremendous shot at the line of scrimmage. William Fuller collapsed the pocket, and when I first saw the ball released, I thought it was going to be an interception because of the hit that Kemp took. Keith Jackson and Orlando
Orlando had his arm around him and trying to pull him away from the ball. No flag, but definitely interference. And so right. Jackson came down with it.
Ruzak for the point after. 6:18 to go now in the 3rd, and the Eagles have their first lead of the night.
As a gutsy little stand by Jeff Kemp in there also. He knew he was going to get pounded, and he had to wait until Jackson made his break. And Jackson, with again all-pro skill, just pulling away from Orlando and concentrating on the ball and coming down with it. And let's take a look what happens to Jeff Kemp. Sits in there, and now he's waiting for Jackson. He knows he's going to get it. He knows he's exposed, and it pays off for 6. That's a lot of courage.
So the Joseph run helps set it up. And 46 drives engineered by quarterbacks other than McMahon this year for Philadelphia. The first time they have gone into the end zone. 10-3 Philadelphia. This is clearly, it's a big game for both teams, but it's a bigger game, I think, for Philadelphia with their schedule, fighting for a wild card. It's big for Houston because Houston's still thinking about home field, even if they don't win the AFC Central tonight. I mean, they're going to win it.
They are going to win it soon, unless we're going to see one of the great collapses in modern NFL history. The Oilers are going to win the AFC Central.
And then Cleveland would have to win all of its games in addition to that.
Still, it does appear that the road to the Super Bowl will go through Buffalo in the AFC, and they continue to win. And Houston very suspect on the road, and particularly on the wintry road. They close out against Cleveland and the Giants in the Northeast.
Ruzak check taken by Coleman, and Pat Coleman It's pushed out of bounds after a good run back up at the 30-yard line. Some activity after they were out of bounds. Scott Kowalkowski gets credit for the tackle. Frank was talking about weather conditions.
And I'm not doing this.
No, well, we've got a little animation here.
And Dan will provide the effects.
Greetings from the Dome. January 12th. You know that the weather here is going to be 72 degrees, no wind, and the wind chill factor 72. However, at Rich Stadium, that's what an average January 12th is like in Orchard Park. 14 miles per hour. Wind out of the northeast. What do you think, Dan?
Well, last week the Oilers lost 26-14 to Pittsburgh, and they were playing in about 20-degree weather, chill factor down around 5, and Warren turned it over 5 interceptions, a fumble, and they were just blown away. And perhaps their worst game in a couple of years.
1st and 10 from the 30. Lone stopped by Hopkins at the 38. You know, the Oilers try to convince themselves, and no team is going to defeat themselves prior to a game. But I mean, they're like the Lions. It's day and night, inside or out. If you play under glass, you're one team. If you play outside in cold weather, you're another team. And Houston has to end the season at Cleveland and at New York.
And they are 6-0 here in the Dome thus far this season. They're 3-3 on the road this year.
Simmons is shaken up. Here's a good example. Since 1982, Houston has the greatest home field advantage in the league. They win 58% of their games at home and only about a quarter of them on the road. Kansas City next best. There's Denver. Buffalo, of course, has been sensational at home, especially in the last couple of years. And then Minnesota would be 5th. But those teams with the 5 largest home field advantage is over the past 10 seasons.
You know, without Steve Hurd, I would have sworn it would have been Denver. We've heard that for so long and for so many years.
Well, but look at Denver and their numbers. They win more at home than anybody else. They also win on the road more than anybody else as well.
Exactly.
So the differential is one thing, but I'll take that. I'll take the biggest home winning percentage and the biggest away winning percentage.
Simmons has to come off. They work on Clyde.
Steve Hurd just shuddered down in the truck.
On 2nd and 4. Moon. That's the first catch of the night for Leonard Harris. And that's good for a first down. Eric Allen makes the tackle at the 43-yard line. 5:10 remaining in the 3rd. Again, next Monday, we'll go to Miami, where the Dolphins, that win that the Dolphins were able to get in Chicago in overtime last week was huge. They followed that up with a victory over Tampa. They're 7-6. They meet the Bengals next week. Their schedule is soft. Miami's in pretty good shape on their road to a wild card. Bengals, Dolphins next Monday night from Miami.
Miami can keep it alive. That game against the Jets in that final Sunday could be the deciding one for a wild card.
And you saw the elbow of Jim McMahon, heavily bandaged with an ice pack in there.
Here comes everybody.
1st and 10, and because everybody's coming, that opens it up for Jeffries and a first down to the Eagle 33.
That time the Eagles showed it a little early, and Warren Moon and Jeffries were in sync. They tried it the full blitz a while ago, and they were able to bury Moon. This time they were in total sync, and Eric Allen is on him, but Moon and Jeffries reading this perfectly.
Well, beautiful outside feint by Haywood Jeffries is what set that up. He got Eric Allen to bite on an outside release, came back to the inside, and that's really the finesse of Haywood Jeffries in getting off the line of scrimmage that made that happen.
First time the Oilers have burned the Eagles blitz tonight.
Eagles by 7, under 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. Here's Lorenzo White, swinging to the outside, fighting to the 30. Reggie White is there to make the hit along with Andre Waters. Lorenzo White out of Michigan State. It used to be a plethora of riches in the backfield here. They had Alonzo Highsmith and Mike Rozier and Lorenzo White and Alan Pinkett. But you really only need one guy when you're running the run and shoot. And so White and Pinkett were the guys who survived. Rozier went to Atlanta and Highsmith to Dallas. 2nd and 6 at the 30. Moon, and that's through the hands of the intended receiver, Tony Jones, little Tony Jones at 5'7".
And that's That's generous. I mean, that's generous at 5'7". Tony might be closer to 5'5".
And he bulks out in the program at 139 pounds, if you can believe that.
He is not the same body type as Eugene Seal. He is small and yet frail. But he can fly. Everybody down in Austin, Texas knows that, who watched him during his career at Texas with the Longhorns.
3rd and 6 for the Oilers at the 30. 3 minutes to play in the third. 10-3 Phillies. Draw. White has to get to the 24, and he stopped at the 30. And now you're looking at a 47-yard field goal attempt. Jerome Brown with the tackle.
And the crowd here at the Astrodome becoming a little hostile, a little restless.
Hi, Mom, in Kansas.
The boos are beginning to come more frequently, and they gave a pretty good round there at that call on 3rd down.
The fascinating part about how good this Eagles defense is that they don't have an offense that really gives them a rest, gives them a break. And they just stay right up to the top week after week.
Del Greco from 47. He made a 42-yarder earlier, and this one is good.
Played the hook, didn't he?
Yeah.
Looks like a touring pro. Play that draw. He got it.
Del Greco is 2 for 2, and the Oilers draw to within 4.
This kick starts outside right of the upright and curves right back in, and good by about 2 feet. There's quite a picture. There it goes. And as we hear in the background, the never-ending battle between Houston and Miami as to who really owns that song.
Next week we'll be in Miami. We'll find out.
We heard it one night here in '78, one of the great games ever played on Monday Night Football, when Earl Campbell ran for 200 yards and Greasy had one of the greatest nights of his career. The Oilers winning 35-31, and these fans were, it's when it was all born. They just went bonkers that night.
I'll say one thing about this song. It sure beats the tomahawk chop. I'm just about da-da-da-da.
Well, everyone's doing it now, right?
Yeah, really.
Here's Del Greco's kickoff. Fielded at the 8-yard line by Ron Harris. And he is spun down up at the 20 by Montgomery.
I'll tell you, we have heard some hitting here tonight. Maybe not the prettiest game cosmetically, but you won't see many games with hitting like this on both sides.
And speaking of hitting,
you talk about hitting, you're talking about breaking the bank. We understand it is now being confirmed the Mets have won the Bobby Bonilla sweepstakes. He's going to go to New York, reportedly for 5 years at $29 million.
Yeah, well, if that's winning.
I was going to say, is that a win?
How much would it cost if they lost?
Here is James Joseph, stopped for a loss of 2.
29 big ones. 29 large, 29 big ones.
Puts him right up there in the Patrick Ewing category, doesn't it?
Wow. Well, you have to say this on behalf of Bobby Bonilla. If the old adage comes true that good things happen to good people, he's living proof of that. I wish more people brought the enthusiasm to their job that he brings to his. He'll never stop smiling now.
I'm just glad he's bringing it to New York.
2nd and 13 at the 17-yard line. And Kemp intended for Barnett. 3rd down.
Good coverage by Dishman, who was shaken up a short while ago, and that time he was all over Barnett. Dishman having a very good year. Changed person. Used to be kind of a chatterbox out there, bad mouth and everything. A lot of very demonstrative. Got on a lot of people's nerves under Jerry Glanville, and he's kind of settled down. Coming into tonight, 6 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, leading the league in individual turnovers, and could very well be on his way to a Pro Bowl.
3rd and 13 at the 17-yard line. Kemp. That's caught by Green, and Green knows exactly how far he has to go for the first down and gets there. Perfect. Roy Green moves the sticks with under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter.
And credit the Eagle offensive line. They provided some good pass protection that allows this pattern by Roy Green, because he takes the break to the sideline. You saw the slip to the ground by Darrell Lewis. And Richard Johnson has to come over and make the play, but that's why Green is so wide open, and a masterful job of staying in bounds. Good body control.
1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Kemp deep into traffic. And Barnett was double covered. Bo Orlando was back there and had help as well from Richard Johnson. 20 seconds remaining now in the 3rd quarter.
You see the coverage coming over from the inside. Orlando, number 26, and Jeff a little late with the delivery, and he just couldn't get that ball out there far enough. But just good coverage too.
Look how close Barnett
almost caught the ball.
Yeah, look how close he comes to catching the ball. Almost reminiscent of Mark Clayton last week in the 2 weeks ago, I guess, in the Miami-Chicago game, where he caught that ball flat on his back that ultimately won it for the Dolphins.
2nd and 10 at the 31-yard line. Over the middle. Catch is made by Keith Jackson. He takes it up to the 39-yard line. Al Smith makes the hit. That's going to end the 3rd quarter.
And smart of the Eagles here, guys, to start utilizing this guy, Keith Jackson. A good target for a quarterback like Kemp.
End of the 3rd quarter. 10-6 Philly. Back we come with Monday Night Football after this word from our ABC station. To the great plastic pimple on the plains.
It was a marvel when it first went up.
It was. 1st down, or 3rd down and 3 for the Eagles as we start the 4th quarter. And Kemp throws, and that's incomplete. He threw it behind Keith Jackson. And Philadelphia is forced to kick. 6 seconds into the 4th quarter, and Philly on top 10-6. And we can remind you that Sunday at 4 Eastern, 3 Central and Pacific, top players from the PGA and Senior Tours team up with the LPGA stars. $1 million at stake. It's the J.C. Penney Golf Classic right here on ABC. Jeff Eagles to punt. Pat Coleman at the 19. And he's out of bounds at the 25-yard line. A 6-yard return. And that's where the Oilers will begin their first 4th quarter possession. 14:44 left in regulation. Philly on top 10-6. That's right. We were all 17 years old when this game began.
We do need a shave by the time this one's over. 10-6, though. Here we are. That's it, Al. Fix that hair.
The impersonators. Working on the eyeliner. 1st down from the 26-yard line as Moon throws incomplete, intended for Haywood Jeffries. Evans covering, and let's take a look at the numbers through 45 minutes of play, including many turnovers for the Oilers, 4 of them.
Well, and this makes 10 in the last 2 weeks. They had 6 turnovers last week, 5 Moon interceptions, and 1 fumbled center exchange. And to think that they are trailing by only a point a turnover, that's pretty remarkable.
You know, and they've sacked Warren Moon tonight 3 times. They'd only given up 14 sacks the entire season, 11 in the last 11 games. Warren Moon had only been sacked 13 times coming into tonight. He's gone down 3 times tonight.
On 2nd and 10. Moon hit by White and then tackled by Brown. White on top, and then Jerome underneath.
I think Jerome will probably get credit for that sack. He got there first, taking the low road. Coming straight up the middle. Lots of talent here wearing the green for the Eagles. Lots of talent.
Jerome Brown working from the inside is just remarkable, because ordinarily those are the guys that get the big push and no headlines. But Jerome Brown gets the big push that drives the quarterback out of the pocket into the arms of Reggie White and Clyde Simmons, but he also gets his share of the sacks.
I think that's number 9 for Jerome on the
Exactly. That's remarkable from the inside.
3rd and 18 from the 18-yard line. They have to get to the 36. Moon's deep pass is a little too deep. Haywood Jeffries reaching out for it, unable to handle it. Eric Allen with the coverage. And Clyde Simmons that time decks Warren Moon as he releases.
Allen running right with Haywood Jeffries, even though he had a little jump on him. It was good coverage. That ball would have had to have been thrown just absolutely perfect. Good effort by Jeffries, who's having that superb year we talked about earlier.
Look, he gets his hand caught up with Eric Allen. Allen trying to clutch a little bit. Jeffries trying to push off.
Montgomery's kick. He angles it away from Harris. And it goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Eagle ball there with 13:57 remaining in regulation. Wonderful job with this Eagle defense. They were number 1 against the pass, number 1 in total defense. And I know you read that they were number 1 in all 3 categories, rushing as well. But coming into tonight's game, New Orleans had actually passed them in the rushing defense department.
By less than a yard a game.
Right. Joseph takes it up to the 40-yard line, but the Eagles, the way they're playing tonight, will be number 1 again after this game in all 3 categories. And if they finish number 1 against the rush, the pass, and the total defense, it'll be the first time a team has done that since the Vikings of '75.
You know what he's really done? Buddy Ryan was a great collector of talent, but they played in kind of a wild, reckless sort of a way and with a low percentage type of defense. But this guy has put some order to this defense, and they are great.
Look at that. 167 yards tonight has been the total offensive output of the Oilers. 5 times this year the Eagles have held their opponents to 200 yards or less.
Kemp stumbles on the way back, but gets the pass away to Byers, who breaks the tackle and may have the first down because of it.
Real close.
Richard Johnson was unable to bring him down, and then he gets out to the 47, where it'll either be a first down or 3rd and very short.
Oh, they're going to. It looks to me if the chains are on the opposite side of the field, if this mark is accurate, it's as you can see short. But again, this side here is eyeballed because the chains are on the far side of the field.
So it's 3rd down, less than 1.
So this is where you have to hope that the grounds crew made a mistake striping out the field.
And Eddie getting in his short yardage defense.
Oilers are all bunched up. Eagles out of the eye. They give it to Joseph, and he picks up the first down. He gets to the 49-yard line. 1st and 10, Philadelphia.
That's how you make sure there's no measurement.
James Joseph, 6 foot, 222-pound rookie, 7th-round draft pick. Now he's coming off, grabbing at his left leg. And that'll bring on Heath Sherman.
And Sherman wasn't really expecting to play tonight. Richie Kotite playing to play Joseph and Byers exclusively in the backfield. And
Bubba McDowell is also hurt.
It has been that kind of a game. It's been a bruising game all night long.
Some poking and some stroking going on out there tonight.
Always like that with the Eagles. It's never pretty to watch, and they make other teams, even the glamour teams, play a little ugly.
So still an official's time here because of McDowell. He'll have to come off, of course, for at least 1 play.
Telling you what, this game's so long, some of these players have had a chance to rehab.
I think Bubba McDowell is trying to check his area code, see which one he's in.
some of these hurt guys might be better by the time it's over.
Some of these guys are eligible for the pension now.
But it's still tight, 10-6.
1st and 10 at the 50-yard line for the Eagles.
Whoa!
Hit, and he's lucky it wasn't picked off. Lamar Lathan is the guy who jarred it loose, and then Ray Childress was the closest to intercepting it, and Doug Smith is hurt.
Anton Davis, the right tackle, went for the cut and didn't get Lathan on the ground, and boy does he plaster Jeff Kemp.
Not one of the better moves by Anton Davis against a very agile linebacker.
The kid has really played a pretty good game at right tackle.
Yes.
I mean, he has,
particularly on the run blocks,
and he hasn't been getting a whole lot of help. But here it is, the closest to you. Watch Davis come back and go for the cut right there. But Lathan doesn't go down. He gets his hands on Davis, stays upright, and wow, that's hitting a quarterback at the opportune time. Lamar Lathan. Remember talking to some people back when he was at the University of Houston, and actually it was Bob Young, the offensive line coach of the Oilers, told me, you can't believe this kid we got down here who plays linebacker. He is the most athletic human being I have ever been around in my life.
What does he run, 4.5 for the 40?
4.5 or even a 4.45. And keep in mind, this is a guy that weighs 250 pounds.
Unusual guy, as you see, he shampoos with Gatorade.
He had a problem last year.
That might be acid.
When he came as a rookie first-round draft pick, he thought this game was going to be so easy. He suffered through a tough year, and he has been sensational this year.
He's so tough, that might have been battery acid.
James Joseph trying to get loose. Twisted left ankle. His return is questionable. There's McMahon. His elbow is wrapped, so his return is doubtful. And here is Kemp on 2nd and 10 at the 50-yard line, guiding the Eagles, who are up 10-6. Under pressure, gets it away. Byers makes the catch, tackled at the 48-yard line by Sean Jones.
Houston doing what you should do when you bring a quarterback off the bench who hasn't worked that much during practice. They come at him with everything they've got. They bring the cornerbacks, they bring linebackers up the middle, and Kemp reads it all right. Gets the ball out to the receiver Byers, but he really pays for it as down he goes.
And you notice they drop a defensive end, Sean Jones, off to cover Byers. Now you talk about a guy that can do it all.
Third and 8 from the 48-yard line. Kemp rifles one. It's caught at the 39. That's a first down. Fred Barnett with the reception.
Again, working on Richard Johnson, and Kemp with a good, strong delivery to get the first down. Jeff Kemp looking good tonight. He had a rough go in that game against San Francisco when he was knocked out with a concussion. Now Barnett tries to back up Johnson, but Johnson's got help deep. And a good play by Barnett coming back to the ball so that Johnson couldn't step in front of him. Good work between Kemp and Barnett.
First and 10. Barnett, meanwhile, just limped off. Green comes in. He's at the bottom of the screen. Calvin Williams at the top. Keith Sherman, the running back. Sherman dragged down by Lathan as he gets to the 31-yard line. That's a pickup of 7.
Interesting when you talk to Rich Kotite about Heath Sherman, a little concerned about the way he runs. He's built very low to the ground, and he runs almost like he's falling down. Buddy Ryan, when we talked to him a year ago, loved that about Heath Sherman. He liked the fact that he almost looked for somebody to hit. He's about a 205-pounder he just runs right off the deck. And it's caused some concern for Rich Kotite. As we look at the Houston Oilers that is down, that's Al Smith. They have got a cramp.
And he's a very key man, the middle linebacker. His place taken by Eugene Seal. Barnett is still on the Philadelphia sideline at 2nd and 3 at the 31-yard line. And they give it to Byers, and he gets ridden down by Sean Jones short of the first down. That's going to set up a 3rd and about 1.5 yards with 9:25 to go in regulation.
The way people are leaving this ball game with injuries, by the time it's over, when it comes to playing, those that can't might outnumber those that can. I mean, there are multiple injuries on both sides, and it is indicative of the type of game it has been physically. This has been one of the hardest hitting ball games I've been around in a long time.
And it is a cramp in Al Smith, the middle linebacker's leg, and they're looking at him. But, and Houston came into this game with 6 or 7 walking wounded that hadn't worked much all week long. And they've lost a couple tonight.
There was McMahon on the sideline, and we have seen the Eagles 3 times on Monday Night Football this year, and Jim McMahon has only been around at the end of one of those games. We saw him hurt the knee trying to run out of bounds in Washington at the end of September, and now tonight the bad right elbow forces him out.
And the Eagles take a timeout to discuss 3rd and 1. Byers is the sole setback. Barnett comes back into the game. He's to the left, Williams to the right. Maurice Johnson in the slot to the left, and that's Johnson in motion. And they're going to throw on 3rd and 1. And the catch is made at the 24-yard line for a first down by Calvin Williams.
Oh, that's showing a lot of confidence in Jeff Kemp. On 3rd and short yardage, you go up on top, you get it to Calvin Williams, and even with that, you can see Dishman laying way off of Williams. He almost gets back, however, but Kemp fires it in for the first down. Well, everything had to work for Jeff there. He had penetration. He had to throw between defenders. Dishman was coming back into it, and it was a good catch by Williams.
Coming into the game, the Eagles were worst in the league in converting 3rd and 1, but they just converted a huge one there. Keith Sherman takes it to the 22-yard line. Under 8 minutes to go. The Eagles on this drive have converted 3 third down plays.
And now you're into the area where kind of everyone in that huddle is saying, let's hang on to the football, because Houston's going to be going for the strip as the Eagles have moved back into field goal territory.
The Eagles this season have not rushed for more than 3.7 yards in any one game, but tonight, 4.3. 90 yards, 21 carries. One of those big carries was that 24-yard run by James Joseph on the only touchdown drive of the game. 2nd and 8. Here's Byers. And he turns nothing into a little something as he takes it to the 21-yard line. And again, the Eagles are confronted with a 3rd down here. It's going to be 3rd and roughly 7.
That was a little fake pass. It looked like it was going to be a fade to the outside receiver and a little quick draw. And unfortunately, Houston didn't have a chance to react to the first fake. Here's the little fake pass. And the defenders are all tied up. They didn't even have a chance to react to it.
At the 22, called it 3rd down and 8. 6.5 minutes left in regulation. Eagles up by 4. Kemp throws. The catch is made at the 12-yard line by Freddie Barnett, and that's 4 third down conversions on this drive.
And another Eagle is hurt. Getting up real slowly upfield. I think it's Dennis McKnight, the left guard.
It is.
He was down for the count and made it back up and got back into the huddle. But what an impressive drive this is for the Philadelphia Eagles, and most untimely for Houston.
By the way, that little taped 60 on the back of some of their helmets, including McKnight, is their tribute to the Detroit Lions' Mike Utley. They want him to know they're thinking about him.
That's as we all do. We certainly wish him the very best, and as Dan said last week, he has all of our prayers.
1st and 10 to the 12-yard line. Here's Byers. He takes it to the 8. The report we're getting now from the Eagle bench is that McMahon could come back in if necessary. And in fact, in an earlier game this season, I think it was the San Francisco game, he goes out. Kemp got hurt, and then McMahon was forced to come back.
Right, and I think
forced suffered the concussion.
I think forced to come back in is the right word, because the only way McMahon comes back into this ball game is to hand off. I mean, if he was able to throw, he'd have been playing.
Look at this drive. 9 minutes thus far. 13 plays. 4 third down conversions.
Well, these are the drives that win ball games. And in this situation, a drive that could ice the ball game.
2nd and 6 at the 8. And this is Heath Sherman thrown for a loss back at the 12 by Sean Jones.
The key here for Philadelphia is that a field goal on this drive still only puts them in a position to be tied with a Houston touchdown. They could go up 13-6, and of course a touchdown and an extra point would tie the ball game. So needless to say, the most desirous of plays here for Philadelphia would be a touchdown play.
3rd and 10 at the 12-yard line. Keith Jackson, the intended receiver, and Lee Williams, who came from San Diego. Lee Williams was the guy who forced the issue.
And Jeff Kemp had no chance, and he did the right thing. And I think a very professional thing. He got rid of it.
And I think Keith Jackson just threw himself into one of the Oilers down in the end zone, trying to maybe draw an interference call. Look at that. I mean, that ball was nowhere close to him. That's a pretty heads-up play.
That's Stanislavski there, a little method acting, trying to draw that flag.
29-yard field goal attempt for Ruzek to try to put the Eagles up by 7. Eagles holds. And that makes it 13-6 with 3:52 remaining. And looking ahead, the Oilers with a lot of time, all of their timeouts, and the 2-minute warning. But they're going to have to get into the end zone, and that's something they've been unable to do tonight. But it is something they have done in the fourth quarter in 9 consecutive games. Score a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Super drive. That's Zeke Bratkowski, an old pro with the Green Bay Packers, quarterback coach for Richie Kotite, patting Jeff Kemp on the back. And Pat, he richly deserves, because he doesn't get to work that much during the week. Most of the work is done by McMahon, even though McMahon didn't throw that much this past week, and Jeff probably just sat around and watched it. And you got to come off cold and relieve the man that's been doing everything for the Eagles, and to come off and perform like he has, well, he deserves that pat on the back. And really, it's been the story of the NFL this year, and that's backup quarterbacks playing for so many teams. There is the big man, Keith Byers, getting stretched out on the sidelines. Kind of warm in here tonight, and we've seen several of the players appear to have been getting cramps in their legs.
Well, the question now is for Houston, what can they try to do offensively differently here at the tail end of this ball game to try to get something to work for them? Because up till this time, they have been totally throttled by the Eagles. So they have got to come up with a scheme, something that might work.
And don't you think it's a gut check too, Dan, for that front four of the Philadelphia Eagles? They've been trying to get to Moon all night long. They've got to him 4 times, but now is when it really counts. And they are, quite frankly, a little tired.
Ruzek taking a yard in by Pinkett. And taken down at the 31-yard line. A good run back for Alan Pinkett. The Oilers, 29 straight games. That's almost 2 seasons worth, gaining at least 250 yards, the longest current streak in the league. And look at this. They're not even close. 167 yards with 3:40 to go.
This man can put it in the end zone quickly. He's had a rough night, but going against the #1 defense, you might expect that. Now, again, it's going to be gut check for Philadelphia. They're going to have to get in Warren Moon's face, or he's going to move it down the field.
1st and 10 at the 29. They've got Lorenzo White in behind him. White stays in the block. Moon throws a wobbler that is nearly picked off by Allen after it was deflected. Intended for Ernest Givens. 2nd down.
Moon getting a little pressure. Probably had to release it just a little before he wanted to.
Moon again. I mean, last week clearly his worst day of the season, and he's followed that one up tonight with, well, you'd have to call it a clunker, even though, granted, it is against the Philadelphia Eagles.
But still, probably his second worst game of the season.
Last week is sort of self-induced. Tonight is Eagle-induced.
Well, and if Houston last week was weather-induced.
2nd and 10. Moon throws. The catch is made up at the 34 by Tony Jones, and that's as far as he goes, and that's going to mean 3rd and 5 with 3:20 and counting left in regulation.
Boy, one of Warren's teammates just saved his life. He was going to take a shot in the back, and one of the guys came out from inside and picked somebody off. It looked like Warren was going to be decapitated and ends up being unscathed. They're fighting. They're trying hard.
Interesting. Now you'll see that right here.
Watch this. Here comes Simmons from behind. Oh, and it's Bruce Matthews who gets him at the last minute.
6 DBs now for the Jets.
3rd down and 5 at the 34-yard line. Moon hit as he throws, but Gibbons makes the catch at the 45-yard line as Reggie White knocks Moon to the AstroTurf.
Look down there and saw Richie Kotite on the sidelines, and I call him the Jets. I meant for the Eagles, of course, but
look how close Warren Moon comes to getting a knee. Reggie White is cut, and as he's going to the ground, ends up right in Warren Moon's knees. And Moon could have been seriously hurt there.
Ball at the 45.
Watch Reggie White here coming in. There's the cut by Williams, and look at Moon twisted around.
1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Moon, a wobbler. That's about a 3-yard gain. Jeffries makes the catch. Allen is there for the touch. Again, the Oilers with all of their timeouts plus the 2-minute warning remaining.
This is the way to do it. I mean, this is the way to drive the football. We talked about patience early. There's plenty of time to take the 5, 6, and 7-yard pass.
Pardee wants them to get that play off before the 2-minute warning, and they will.
2nd and 8 from their 47. Philly up by 7. Moon had time, throws, and the catch is apparently made, and it's a fumble at the 41-yard line, and the Eagles come up with a football. Drew Hill dropped it. Otis Smith came up with it, and it's Philadelphia football.
Well, what a shot Drew Hill took. I think Otis Smith was the player who put the hit on him.
63 offense. Penalty is declined. Interception. 1st down.
Interception.
Or like
I believe
a
fumble recovery.
It is.
But I think Otis Smith, number 30, was the player that put the shot on Hill. Let's watch it. There it is, and right there. Ooh. Yeah, that's Smith, number 30. That is a ferocious blow on Drew Hill, and that's indicative of not only the way the Eagles have played tonight, but all season long.
And this is the 2-minute warning.
Hey, Drew Hill, he took a vicious shot, but it's what Philadelphia set out to do. Hammer the wide receivers, keep them underneath, hit them, force the turnover, and they've been successful at it, and they are definitely in control now.
1st and 10, Philadelphia from the 41. Here's Sherman. Picks up 3. Oilers have to stop the clock. The Oilers got a double bad break on that fumble recovery. The end of that play happened at exactly 2 minutes, and that meant that they could not use that 2-minute warning as that extra timeout. Had it happened 1 second earlier, they would have had the extra T, but they don't. Timeout here, 1:52 left in regulation. And recovered that last fumble. Looking on as his team is on the verge of going 8-5. It is 2nd down and 7 up at the 43-yard line. That much time left. Oilers have 2 timeouts left. Heath Sherman swings to the outside. He stopped after a gain of 1, 3rd and 6. Timeout Houston. They have 1 remaining. Eagles tonight have created 5 turnovers to go with 7 last week in their game against Phoenix, as you look at a very frustrated Oiler unit. So the Eagles have created 12 turnovers in the last 2 games.
And what a shock it must be for these guys to not even have scored a touchdown. I mean,
and coming off last week, Dan, that loss to Pittsburgh, it was ugly.
The points come in bunches for these guys, and to be held without a touchdown, no matter who it is you're playing defensively, is still a shock to the boys in blue.
Well, let's see who's happy tonight. The Buffalo Bills are happy. They're going to lead Houston by 2. The Giants and the 49ers are not too happy. It's such a scramble now for the wild card in the NFC. As we said before, 10-6 probably gets you home. 9-7, and you may be out.
And I don't know that there's a team in the National Football League that is demonstrating more guts, more character, and more desire to win a football game than the Philadelphia Eagles. After, what they have had to battle through since they lost Randall Cunningham in Green Bay on opening day. I mean,
well, that's so true. And what a tribute to Richie Cote.
3rd and 6. They need a first down, and that would wrap up the game, and they don't get it, so the Oilers can take a timeout, and they're going to get the ball after a punt. So Pardee team will get the ball back. Of course, what they'll also try to do is block the punt with 1:33 remaining, and that's the last Oiler timeout.
Yeah, well, I wonder how many Oiler receivers are volunteering to go downfield and catch one over the middle. I mean, a heavy tariff has been exacted by the Eagle secondary on anybody who ventures across the middle with the intent of catching one of this guy's passes.
Warren Moon's last game without a touchdown pass 2 years ago in Kansas City, and then he made up for that last year when he went into Arrowhead and threw for over 500 yards.
And I would venture to say maybe he has never played a game here in the Astrodome that he hasn't had one.
Well, maybe we'll see
to find out.
Maybe we'll see a punt return for a touchdown by Pat Coleman.
Well, Jeff Fiegels has to be a little concerned because the Oilers have been close to him all night long. And if they got any kind of maneuver that they haven't shown thus far tonight, you're going to see it here.
Here is his 9th punt of the game. It's a low kick. And it's angled out of bounds. And so the Oilers are going to have to go 77 yards from the 23 and get it in without a timeout and 1:27 remaining.
And that's a smart play by Fiegels. Don't kick it where a return can beat you. That's heads-up play. Sacrifice a few yards off your average, and don't run the risk of a big play.
When's the last time you saw a team win a game after their punter had kicked it 9 times?
Yeah, really?
Probably it was Philadelphia with Reggie White and his defense out there.
Yeah.
Reggie on the sidelines, they all got together, and you can hear them saying, "We got to do it one more time, guys."
Four-man rush, the big 4, the Fab 4. And the pass is caught by Harris at the 47-yard line. They can't stop the clock. And they're 53 yards away.
It's Monday night.
And Tuesday morning.
This offense is never totally out of it.
It's Tuesday morning in the Eastern time zone anyway. 1st and 10 at the 47. And that's incomplete, intended for Leonard Harris, and we have 59 ticks left. 2nd and 10 at the 47-yard line. Philadelphia trying to make it 5 straight. Pardee's team is on the verge of losing its 2nd straight.
Eagles with 6 DBs. They've stayed pretty much with the 6 defensive backs after having changed up so much during the course of the game, but they've stayed pretty much with the 6 defensive backs here in the 4th quarter.
2nd and 10. Moon pass. Givens at the 38, tackled by Smith. That's another first down.
Going to make it exciting, aren't they?
They sure are. Oilers are taking it from their 23 to the 38. First down, Moon throws. That's another first down at the 24-yard line, and they're ruling it down. The ground caused that fumble. Haywood Jeffries.
But the clock still goes.
Now they're stopping it at the 23-yard line. Take another look.
Let's take a look at this. There's a hit by Eric Allen. Oh, that ball is out of there before he hits the ground.
But there's no review, and Moon throws, and that's tipped at the goal line by John Booty.
Well, there's no review because the whistle blew, which means the play is over. So once the whistle blows at the end of that play, it really doesn't do any good to review it because the play is over. You can see where the ball came out, but it is inconsequential, really. But Warren Moon now with 13 seconds has little choice but to throw this ball into the end zone. He should get 2 shots at it.
Second down at the 24. White stays in the block. Good protection. Too deep.
There's one of the two.
Good coverage. Seth Joyner then finally got to Moon as he released. 7 seconds remaining.
Warren had no place to put it. Good coverage. Excellent coverage. And he just got rid of it before he was hammered. Rich Miano was back there providing really good coverage against Gibbons. And Warren sensed that he had to release it. And he took the shot from Seth Joyner.
Seth Joyner turning in one of the best defensive games anybody's ever played on Monday Night Football.
I don't think I've ever seen a better one. Defensively, I don't think so.
Well, the last play took 6 seconds. If he can get another 6-second play, he might get another shot at it if it's not complete.
Third down from the 24-yard line. And Moon spins away.
This is it.
We're out of time. Moon throws, and it is knocked down at the goal line, and the Eagles have won it.
What a finish.
What a defensive football team.
5 in a row for the Philadelphia Eagles.
What a tribute to Rich Kotite and this man, Bud Carson, released a year ago by Cleveland after 9 games. Richie Kotite hired him immediately after he realized his defensive coordinator was leaving him when he got the job. Of course, they'd been together 5 years with the Jets. They did a great job tonight. Clyde Simmons putting the pressure initially on Warren Moon. Moon struggling to keep it alive. Time ran out on him right here. And Reggie White appropriately there.
That's who else? I mean, it has to be.
Had to be.
Joyner. It's Joyner. He's everywhere. The Eagles very much in the hunt now. 13-6, they win it. We'll talk to you next Monday.